folks, welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from Headphones. We are live once again. How is everybody doing today? The classic blunder. I didn't charge my earbuds. Wow, what a night last night. What a night last night. A lot of things would happen. A lot of things went on. One, I'm not the biggest basketball fan, right? I watch some college ball once in a while. I'm a Pitt fan, obviously. Pittsburgh didn't have a NBA team. They've got hockey, baseball, and football, but no NBA. So I didn't watch a ton of basketball. I did watch the Sixers while AI was there. I did watch, that's kind of my basketball. I didn't play basketball growing up because I'm not tall. I'm very white. But that being said, like many of you, I have been caught up in the fever. And Hassan Piker and Will Neff travel to New York City, and they see the greatest, most legendary finals game of all time. It has to be at the top of a non-elimination game. Kyle, who is a Knicks fan, went to bed at halftime. I've been trying to build a bridge with Kyle, so I'm not going to say what needs to... You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say what needs to be said. You're not allowed to watch the rest of the games. You're not allowed to watch the rest of the games. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Like, in my home, if you did something like this, first of all, you never admit it. You never admit it. I think if I wanted to get punched in the face by my extended family, it would be to do something like this. And they would say, and they would mean it, you're not allowed to watch the rest of the game because they won when you stopped watching. They were losing when you were watching, and then you quit, and then they had an epic comeback. You're banned. You're banned from watching. And they would not, like, you gave up on the team, and the team succeeded without you. You can't come back. Like, you're done. Like, I'm not even kidding. My family would literally not allow me to watch it if I did something this. I mean, and I would, by the way, if one of my family members did something like this, I would also not let them watch. Like, and it may seem unhinged. It may seem like I'm crazy cuckoo, but I want you to understand something. That if you're not there for the lows, you don't deserve to be there for the highs. I'm sorry. You're not there for the lows. You don't deserve to see the summit of the mountaintop. By the way, this isn't even a low. You're winning the series. It's 2-1. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, actually, like, unironically, I gotta say, when I saw this post, and I did see it, I was a little frustrated. Well, he went to bed when it was 2-1, chat. Try to have object permanence, okay? He went to bed when it was 2-1, assuming they would have lost, so it'll be 2-2. So to, like, have a meltdown and, like, quit watching. Like, I get if you're down, like, 2-0 and you're losing the third game and you're going to get swept and you're really frustrated and blah, 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 and you quit. Like, that would be more understandable to me. I mean, not understandable, but at least I could get it. But when you're up 2-1 at home at halftime... You gotta be fucking kidding me. I once stayed up to watch like a hockey game. I think it was the third longest hockey game ever played. And then we lost. Okay? It was like 6 OTs or some shit. Flyers, Pittsburgh. 3 OTs, yeah. And we fucking lost. So I don't want to hear this shit about, oh, it's halftime, I went to bed. And here's the thing. When you go to bed, you miss it. That's why you don't go to bed. It's like not understanding that in order for your dessert to taste even sweeter, you have to put in a little bit of salt. AKA, if you're gonna be a sports fan, have the highest highs, you gotta have the lowest lows. That's the drama of life. My God. It's like he wants to paint with only one color. I can't stand it. I'm like actually getting worked up over the poetry of sport. So what else happened while we were all talking about this? Oh yeah, Trump says they will invade Iran. And what else happened today? Oh yeah, MoistCr1TiKaL made a video. I've appropriately put MoistCr1TiKaL's video as the most important thing in my title. And then oh yeah, we're apparently going into a war. We're gonna invade Karg Island, according to Trump. But hey. But MoistCr1TiKaL made a video, so we're going to talk about that as well, because that's what you disgusting fat hogs want. And before you get mad at me, what do you want me to say? You know, what do you want me to say? With that being said, it is actually an important point. It is actually an important point, like, unironically. Also, Claire had a debate last night, which is like, who the fuck schedules a debate? They should have postponed the debate. And the thing about Claire's debate last night, which is the Central Committee's favorite politician, after, of course, Jared. After Jared. Oh my God. After the person who is going to defeat Jared Moskowitz. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with Jesus Christ? Oliver Larkin, who's going to defeat Jared. Jesus. Give me some caffeine, am I right? Does the drone helicopter story smell off? No. I mean, didn't the DNC infamously deliberately schedule 2016 primary debates to coincide with NFL playoffs? I'm sure they did. You should also cover the New York Times article about Trump and Epstein with newly released files said he had underage parties at Mar-a-Lago and meetings in the Situation Room about it. Wonder why we're attacking him. Oh my God, I didn't even see that story. So if the Knicks win, I think I think socialism might win. And I want you to like follow my logic. Like Zoran Mamdani, everybody said that he was going to be a super anti-Semitic racist who was going to make Jews unsafe. The city budget was going to fall apart and everyone was going to flee New York and the vibes were going to be terrible. Like that was literally the argument, right? That was the argument. And a lot of people bought it. All right. A lot of people bought it. Now, those of us who are intelligent didn't, but a lot of people bought that. And then Zoran comes in. He's accomplishing all of his fucking big promises. He is navigating all the tripwires that a left-winger usually falls into, you know, caving to some outrageous demand from some sort of staff union or, you know, getting a fucking blue flu that stops, like, you know, causes, you know, disorder in some area or, you know, being incompetent and not knowing how to run anything. Like the stuff that can happen to left-wing politicians who get into power. He has managed to just step around the tripwires and successfully manage, which is a huge issue for an under-seasoned, non-executive experienced politician. He's been outstanding as an executive. And then now the Knicks are on the verge of winning, and he's been there every step of the fucking way. This is why you need to understand why the cult of personality around left-wing leaders happens. Because when a left-wing leader actually wins and starts keeping the promises, they become adored, and we cannot stop that from happening. Like, because people are actually start going, oh my God, this person's actually a good person, and everybody starts like loving that guy. So you can't stop it from happening because good things are happening to people and they blame your guy for it or they attribute it to your guy. It makes your entire movement more popular. It's unavoidable. Sorry. Like, look at what the New York Post a video the New York Post made this morning, or excuse me, I saw this morning. It popped up in my algorithm. 500,000 views. Couples shocked to see Mayor Mamdani officiating marriages. I want to show you guys this.
It's not every day you get married. It's not every day you get married, and the mayor is doing the marriage. There is no greater place to get married than New York City. And so many people want to come here for that purpose. Everyone from every walk of life comes here to get married. We have people coming in from all over the world as part of their New York City vacation to get married. And we have people who are getting married on their lunch break. Every country in the world is represented here, richest to the least richest. Everybody comes here to get married, and that's part of the magic.
Have you been in here before?
I have. I have been in this very room almost exactly a year ago. Rama and I got married right here.
When you arrive here, you go to our information desk, our information clerk. We give them a ticket. We ask the couple to sign. People are nervous just filling out their marriage license application. It can be a little nerve-wracking. Thousands of couples I've seen get married.
Any marriage advice?
Any marriage advice? I'm certainly not one to give marriage advice. Just make sure that you treasure the heart of the person that loves you enough to become your spouse.
We actually met at a party in East Village. A very New York story.
It's love at first sight.
Yeah, we met in college. This is our 12th anniversary.
Yeah, so we met in Moscow.
We're not from here originally.
Moved here from Puerto Rico. I love this place. This is like my home now. We got to seal it off here in New York, the city that made it happen.
What made you decide to get married here at the city clerk's office?
What do you think?
Convenient. I feel like it's just iconic. Like, what else could you do in New York? Like, this is the spot to be.
No other mayor has actually officiated while serving as mayor.
Am I the first mayor to have been married myself here?
I believe so.
How many people get married a day?
Usually we do 75 ceremonies a day.
Wow, okay.
2016 was the first year that we beat Vegas. So
Take that, Las Vegas. Okay, ready to go? Hello. Hi. Hi, how are you?
Such a pleasure.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I have the same tie. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations. Hello.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for doing this.
Pleasure to meet you, Emily.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Congratulations.
Sylvia.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
We are
One of
gathered.
the things that's really great about, I mean, I'm a sucker for a city hall marriage, you know, personally. It's romantic. Elopement, simplicity is romantic to me. I don't think a gigantic, ostentatious ceremony is fucking nice, personally. But again, I guess either one could be good, right? I guess either one could be good. I'm not going to yuck your yum. I'm just saying.
Here today to witness the exchanging of marriage vows of Matthew and Molly, of Minji and Michael, of Ahmed and Zoe, Muhammad and Emily, of Sylvia and Gabriel. Do you, Svetlana, solemnly declare that you take Tomas to be your spouse? That you take Zoe to be your spouse? You take Matthew to be your spouse?
I do.
I do.
And keep him for as long as you both shall live?
Yes.
I do.
I do.
Yes, I do.
I do.
Inasmuch as you have consented to be united in the bonds of matrimony, and you have exchanged your wedding vows before all those present today, therefore, by the powers vested in me by the laws of the state of New York, I now pronounce you married. I now pronounce you married. You may seal your vows with a kiss. Congratulations. Congratulations. I think it's the best of New York.
Oh, I don't enjoy ostentatious, but big weddings where everyone is laughing, drinking, dancing are wonderful. That's the reception. That's the reception, which is just a party, which, of course, who doesn't like a good party? Am I right? Not quite the exact same thing, but I get your point. Typically, you have a nice reception if you have a big wedding ceremony. I get that. I don't like party environments. I'm not a socialite. I disagree with you, but there's different types of parties, right? So last night, the impossible happened, and the biggest comeback in NBA history took place, and the most spoiled people on the planet got to experience it. That's not even that. That's oh my god, dude. I want to say that Adri has been a great asset on Twitter. I've been begging for people to do this shit, which is basically be, instead of being a pro streamer clip channel, like now we can retweet her instead of having to quote tweet fucking stock or whatever the fuck. This is where I saw the game.
Right to the fucking line and force him to earn it at the line. I bet they are. Holy shit. Oh no, Brunson misses a shot. OG Anunoby with a rebound. Wait, oh, Knicks win! Holy shit, plus 2 points. OG Anunoby with a tip shot at the fucking buzzer. Will Neff presently ejaculating. It's explosive. It's copious. The stands are flooded. The floors are sticky. They're evacuating all of the present denizens in the city. It is a Spider-Man level threat. There's one last possession to go.
I saw, God, there was another, there was another reaction video. Was it March that posted it? That was like a better, more authentic expression. of the celebration. Fuck, who posted it? God damn it. Maybe I just liked it. All right, here, this might be it. This might be the one. I think Adri posted it. Look at Will. Look at Will. Went out of the court and emoted. I didn't even notice that. Oh shit, the game was actually not over yet. Technically the Spurs got another shot attempt. Why don't they just keep throwing it in the hole? Seems like a lot of bother when you could just throw it in the hole from anywhere. So true. The final shot was insane. Here comes my DMCA. It's too long. I can't do 30 whole seconds, guys. I gotta, oh God, here comes my DMCA. I'll try to do it without. I'm gonna break the bot. I'm breaking the bot. Oh my God. God wanted the Knicks to win. God wanted the Knicks to win. And as I was saying before, like, this is the moment. This is the moment where you know that the vibes have shifted. This is the moment that socialism won. Like, back in history, we're going to look back at the moment where socialism won, and it'll be this moment. This will be the turning point where normies get an irrational connection to Zoran Mamdani and democratic socialism in New York City, the most important city in America, the empire of the world. This is a fucking statue. This is when Mamdani's stand was permanently enshrined. Lenin did comprehend Marxist Leninism, Mamdaniism with the dialectic of Texas versus New York in the context of Xi Jinping thought. No, don't leave that out. Without Xi Jinping thought, socialism is not succeeding in America. Unironically, a lot of the reason why socialism is winning is because propaganda is getting to the masses through social media. People are seeing China and going, "Oh, that's what communism is," and the like Red Scare is falling flat. Like that's like an undersold part of this is like the Red Scare is not working. They don't have a good foreign enemy. China is not a good foreign enemy. They're too intertwined with the US. They're too peaceful, and their cities are clean and well run. It's not, the Red Scare is not going to work this time. Whereas in, Soviet Russia, there's all the reasons in the world it is the way it was, but it wasn't more desirable than being in the richest, wealthiest Western countries. It just was not. Okay, you could say that it was incredible, the development they did and how they ended feudalism and caught up to the United States and all this other shit. But it wasn't just fundamentally from your sitting in your chair looking at it more desirable. And a lot of the Chinese propaganda is fucking good. It's good. Like, and all of this is the context. This is all the context. It will be very funny if the only game lost will be Trump in attendance. No, that'll be part of it as well. I'm late, but I'm here with the Nuggies. Nice. Did you get a bucket? This is a hungry chat.
Joined the Communist Party 10 times before they let him in. His father, a former vice premier, had been purged in 1962 and thrown into solitary confinement for 8 years.
By the way, I think the best way to understand the Cultural Revolution is imagine what socialism would look like if you put Brett in charge. This is socialism by ultras. And if you're like, wow, it fucked up and everybody was in poverty, the answer is yes. Who? Citisexism.
She was 9 when it happened.
He's like, whenever I think about like a completely, unintelligent ultra, he's the guy who pops in my head now. He's like, He stands in for like loud guy who's kind of dumb.
By 12, he was labeled a class enemy. Red Guards kidnapped him from a factory. His
ironically though, like Red Guards, like they were like 16-year-olds. 16-year-olds with a Tumblr. That's what it was. Imagine the most annoying Tumblr going, that was a microaggression. You are a counter-revolutionary. And then you had to stand in front of the room and everyone threw tomatoes at you. And you wore a dunce cap. That is what the Cultural Revolution was like.
Sister turned him away from her door and personally reported him to authorities. His other elder half-sister passed during the Cultural Revolution due to persecution. At 15, he was sent to a village called Liangjiahe in northern Shanxi. He slept on a brick bed to prove his discipline. Others sent down youths.
And by the way, that's why Maoists call themselves Maoists. Like, Maoists don't like Mao. That's like something that people need to understand, that Maoists don't actually like Mao. It's a misnomer. I like the Mao that actually existed. You know, like I like studying his thought and him as a historical figure when I say I like him. That's what I mean by that. They are like, they're thinking about the Red Guard period and they want to do that. And one of the things about that period is like a lot of the people who were supporters of it, they would say shit like poverty is good. Like it's actually good that everyone's poor. Like that's true communism when everyone is poor. That's what they would say. So yes, obviously that's why I don't consider myself part of that intellectual why we make fun of ultras. I mean, most ultras don't even know what the fuck. They don't know anything about their own supposed beliefs, but it is what it is.
Home after a couple of years. She decided to stay 7.
Why do they call themselves Maoists? Because Mao is the person who unleashed the Cultural Revolution, right? So they basically what they believe is that we're going to do a cultural revolution and a economic revolution all at once. And it's like it's almost like I kind of agree with One Dime's interpretation of it. I think One Dime has a really good video on the Cultural Revolution, and I think it is like really well and it's very like neutral and fair. But it you know, if you ever want to like learn more about it, you should check that out because it's very good. One Dime is anti-China. He's more anti-China than I am, but I think his Cultural Revolution take is a good take. It's sort of like the problem with One Dime is it happens a lot. You could recognize that like what failed with the Bernie Sanders campaign was this kind of like tolerance of woke one. Like how woke one kind of tripped us up. But then how do you take that? How do you learn from that? The answer is Mamdani. The answer is not ACP. The answer is not like trashing AOC a bunch. You know what I mean? It is understanding that what was wrong with woke one is a matter of adjustment, not a fundamental like problem with the idea that there is an intersectional element of oppression. It's just in the presentation and in the application and in the prioritization, right? Like, and I think dark woke is the solution, not weird ACP shit. One Dime said Scandinavian countries are more socialist than China. I mean, I want to get into that because it's not true, but the Chinese have an approach that is so fundamentally different because of their political conditions, right? Like their political conditions are totally different. The bourgeoisie are under power. So when they do things like maximize competition in the private sector, they are doing so in a controlled environment by a socialist party. It's different than neoliberal reforms in Scandinavia, which is really just capital reasserting itself as the primary controlling class, which is not happening in China. I like Red Pen as well, JP Swede, by the way. I do. Oh my God. Mayor Mamdani is starting a new direct-to-camera series called Morning Pitch, where he'll share weather, transit, and tournament updates before every New Jersey, New York World Cup match day. God, he's so smart. God, he's so smart. That's what I've been telling them to do. I swear to God, there's a Mike from PA head in the Mamdani administration who's stealing all my fucking takes and then like getting promoted because they're all good. Like, God damn it. Whoever you are, DM me. I know who you are. I better see you root for Mexico. One time thinks Marco Rubio, AOC would lose to Marco Rubio in a landslide. He's not American. Canadians are like the worst commentators on American politics. Like they think they know America, but they absolutely don't. America, I'm going to say something that's going to piss everybody off, but it's true. America is the most woke of the Western countries. Truth nuke. And I think a lot of people are like, the problem is our structure of our system is so bad. Like our government, our constitution makes democracy, it holds it in awe. And it's maximally designed for the capitalist class. But the like actual people are more progressive than every other country, especially on racial issues. So the only reason why, you know, we haven't had as much success is because our system is structured to block and frustrate popular will. But when we overtop the dam, we're going to sweep away a lot of shit. I mean, most of the like ideas that Scandinavians tout are actually American. Like a lot of the Nordic democracy and the ideas behind it are just taking American ideas and implementing them. Because they have a parliamentary system, they just need a bare majority and they can implement it all because they have joint, you know, executive and legislative authority. Whereas in the US, we've got 1 million veto points, which makes reforms much harder to implement. Proof of this, Kansas getting behind Algeria. America is so fucking woke, it's insane. That's what people don't get. That's why, they're not woke one. That's what people don't get. Woke one is the wokeness of the academic. Americans are not, call them what they will, but they're not academics, okay? But they are they are Kyle Kalinske dark woke, okay? The left is doing well in America when you have downscale people like Graham Platner leading the left. When you have like upscale, hyper-educated elites leading the left, we fucking lose. When it's downscale, kind of trashy dudes leading the left, we win. So like, and that's always been the case. It's always been the case. That's why civil rights, like LBJ was a fucking trashy dude, but he got in the Civil Rights Acts of the Great Society. Barack Obama, super classy. He spent his time telling everyone how much he's a Reagan Republican and got fucking nothing done. But trashy whites are woke, then we're winning. Mike, did we have to go through woke 1 to get woke 2? I don't know that we had to, but we did. You know? I actually think it's good because all of you are inoculated against woke 1. Like if somebody calls me racist, how many of you are going to stop watching my stream and spend the rest of your life investigating everything I've ever said, looking for any evidence I'm a secret racist? Or how many of you are going to laugh and go, that's fucking ridiculous? In woke 1, all of you would have gone and like investigated everything I've ever done and trying to look for some secret sign that I'm a right winger. But in reality, that's fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference between woke 1 and woke 2. Woke 1, I actually had a clip that Jules cut. I'm just gonna play it because I'm reminded of, I said this like a couple days ago. But this is my best way to explain it. What's the difference between woke 1 and woke 2? Woke 1 is liberal. Woke 1 is all about how you present. Woke 1 is all about how people think of you. Woke 1 is about building yourself a comfort stream or comfort space. Woke 1 is about academic terminology and policing and an inquisitorial like desire to find the secret conservatives, right? That's woke 1. Woke 2 is consequentialist. Woke 2 is, what is it going to cause the policies to be? Woke 2 is about achieving change in the world for all of us, not just for the personal branding of some influencer. It's less about your Tumblr page and more about laws and power. That's the difference between woke 1 and woke 2. They have the same goals, well, supposedly, but woke 1 is focused on the individual and woke 2 is focused on the collective. I am proudly woke 2. I don't think we're going to get liberation and anti-racism by flogging already convinced liberals in social media. You know what I mean? I think we're going to get liberation by seizing state power and smashing the right. So those are the two differences, you know? I mean, that's really like the explanation of what my stream is. Like, by the way, I don't hate wokers. I think a lot of woke people are just recently converted leftists who are trying their best, but they are annoying. I mean, there's two types of wokers, okay? There are recently converted leftists who are trying their best, right, to fit in and do the right thing. And then there are sociopathic liberals that are using it for interpersonal power. those people fucking suck and I want them gone. You know, example would be like Gremlo, Brett, etc. Like, they're not trying to do the right thing. They're trying to use your, you know, strong feelings against bigotry in order to advance themselves, right? That's why we don't like them, because they're not part of a team. They're just trying to use the beliefs that you have for their own enrichment, right? That's why we reject them. And, you know, it's hard to kind of redeem yourself out of that. You got to show solidarity for a very long time to, like, be recovered from being one of those people. I don't like them because their analysis is awful. Yeah, of course their analysis is awful. It's called restorative justice and rehabilitative justice, gentleman farmer. Here, let me give you a link. I'll show you. There is a movie by Michael Moore where he talks about prisons in Norway, because and it is it's a very good understanding of like what a good reform that we could implement would be, which is changing the nature of what prisons are about. Prisons are about isolating someone who is so antisocial from the community and then healing them. And so that when they come out the other side, they are a productive member of society. That's what prisons are for. It's like when somebody is like lashing out and they're so antisocial and we can't help them in the social and political, social and physical context they're in, they need to be taken to like a specialized place to heal. That's what like our criminal justice system should be about, creating and solving antisocial behavior. Prisons are about making money. Well, in America, yeah, of course. Of course, in America, it's a slave society. Yeah, like, you know, of course. Meanwhile, guys, Claire, we need to help Claire. She's so cool. And she was with Zoran last night watching the Knicks game. The fuck is this spam shit? The fuck is this? This is why I like Zoran, like unironically, Zoran is, it's almost a good thing he can't be president. And here's the reason why. It's because he will never retire. The thing about being president is once you're president, it's over. Like there's nothing really more you're going to do. Like if he could be president, he'd be our fucking president and be retired at 45. But because he can't, he'll probably end up being a senator or something. And he'll stay in power, effectively leading the socialist movement in New York for decades to come. And that is going to and be a major leader in American legislature for decades to come. So that's probably going to end up being better for us in the long run than him being president. Because I actually think he's he's like literally the ideal socialist for America that we need. He's young. He's got impeccable vibes. He's good looking. But he actually cares about governance. Governance is boring. Governance is hard. Governance is a pain in the ass. But it's what matters. So him actually being good at it is huge. He also understands, like honestly, he understands everything that I want to write like a book on this, honestly, like called the Mamdani Method. How socialists should run the government or something. Because like, even though it's, you know, it's mostly, it is what it is, you know, like, ultimately, I'll grok it, yeah. Ultimately, like, the really important thing here is understanding that our politics requires the government to actually function. And that's hard, but it's not impossible. And when it works well, that's why people point to the Scandies, by the way. The reason why people point to the Scandies is because they had people like Zoran win power, and they implemented a bunch of programs, and those programs were run really well, and had low corruption. And so people didn't bitch about paying taxes. And so there was a much more equal society that developed. Now, fundamentally, what failed is geopolitics. And the capitalist class was able to reassert itself because, you know, obviously socialism did not win. the geopolitical struggles. So the transition was halted. As a New Yorker, I want Mamdani to be governor. I think that would be a good idea. I think Mamdani as governor was a great idea, actually. And then after governor, he could run for Senate. I think Mamdani being governor would be a really good idea because that would make the New York Democratic Party like very firmly left. And that would be a huge boon. The problem with like the only issue I have with Mamdani is like we got to make sure the second string. It's like having Gretzky or Mario Lemieux on your team, you know, like to use my millennial references for best hockey, but where it's like, you know, are we gonna have a Ron Francis? Are we gonna have a Jaromir Jagr? Are we gonna have a Malkin? Like we need to have a second string player who's like also legendary. You know, a Sidney Crosby there. Is that better, more millennial for you? Is that 1991, 1992 Penguins team the best team of all time? Yes. Yes, it is. Where do you think AOC falls on the woke one versus, like, if you understand how the 1991, 1992 Penguins team was, they had a Hall of Fame center who was the third string center. I want you to, like, think about that. They had the best offensive defenseman of all time as well. Like, when we're talking about a team, like, that was a team. When did Tim Thomas is resting do the Tuukka Rask? Oh, yeah, true. 85 or 88 Oilers, Mike, wake up. I think if the 88 Oilers played the 92 Pens, they would have fucking lost. All right, what was I saying? Everyone's saying copium. It's fine. You could disagree. What's your take on term limits? They're stupid. If somebody said, Bernie Sanders is not allowed to run again, or AOC, she's been in office for 3 terms, she can't run again, would that be good? You can see how that's dumb as fuck, right? Okay, we can move on now. So the Knicks won. Everything is marching along. Victory is ours. Let's watch this absolutely ridiculous MoistCr1TiKaL video, because I gotta tell you, I've always been I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Okay? If you're talking about honest to goodness millennial cringe, it's MoistCr1TiKaL. Like honest to goodness millennial cringe. Like not like I mean, dude, like come on, man. All right, I think I can switch to my earbuds now. I think they've got enough charge, right? It's been an hour. That should be enough, right? Okay, yeah, it looks like they're good to go. All right, awesome. He's saying outrageously goofy and vulgar shtick every time has worn on me. I mean, yeah, of course. Wasn't Moist a loser who could keep a stock cooler at a party? So I went to this is how much Moist is such a fucking like and sitting pussy. When iDubbbz did Creator Clash 2 in Tampa, which is like where MoistCr1TiKaL lives. MoistCr1TiKaL had like a get together at his compound, and it was the worst run group get together I've ever seen. Like if I had been 14 and set up a get together like that, I would have been ashamed of myself. I mean, honestly, I had better parties when I was frat party. No one would rush that frat, bro. I've been to a lot of frat parties. It could not wash the jock of the worst frat party I've ever seen. Okay, like this motherfucker couldn't even keep coolers correctly. Like legitimately, I was like, this guy has never had a party. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is horrible. But he did have gigantic penises. Guys, he had gigantic penises. Well, epic narwhal bacon. So I've always thought of him as like, God, this may be the most overrated cringe millennial. And when we look back on this like era of slop, you're a 30-something. How old is he now? You're 30 fucking what, 31? Like, can you, I mean, like, Jesus Christ, man. Best comment was, Charlie claims to have missed all the drama because he's barely online. Also, Charlie, so unless you've been under a rock, you already know all about the Pokemon card butt bungler situation. Yeah, I know. The Legos situation, guys. The Lego situation. Now, I'm not saying the Lego situation is not a dramatic story, and it's obviously a family is being embezzled and mistreated, and it absolutely is a crime. But it's an individual commercial dispute. Shit like that happens 1,000 times a day around this country. I want those people to be punished. I want the Lego people to get their Legos back. I want those, you know, the weird corrupt conspiracy theory, conspiracy of the police to be exposed. Like, I'm not saying the story isn't important to get out there. I'm just saying that consequentially, it's not that important, right? It's not going to like fundamentally change America if the Lego guy gets his money back. Okay. Meanwhile, there are lawsuits that are literally threatening the very industry you have made your career off of, and you're pretending you don't know what's going on, involving somebody that you know, because again, I was there at Tampa. Why? Because iDubbbz Creator Clash event. So just keep that in mind.
About the H3 versus iDubbbz defamation lawsuit, and spent the last 3 or so hours learning about it and getting into the nitty gritty, figuring out all the bits and pieces and getting all the morsels.
Yeah, guys, he never heard of all the Ethan Klein lawsuits, guys. He never paid attention. He did do a deep dive into the Kaya Gate. He did have an opinion about whether Kaya got shocked. He didn't ask, you know, he didn't reach out and talk to Hassan and ask him about it. But he did know about Kaya Gate, but he doesn't know anything about the lawsuits that Ethan Klein is doing. I mean, does anybody believe this? Does anybody believe this?
Information I could find.
He's made 8 videos in the past 13 days about the Lego drama. As a group, these videos have garnered 29 million views. Meanwhile, he's made 0 videos on Denim's winning the lawsuit, defending his right as a creator to react to content. Truly wild. God. You know what it is? It's his presentation. He gives off your stoner friend from high school. Although I'm pretty sure he's like a conservative that doesn't use weed or any drugs, right? Like, he just talks like that. Also, my favorite thing about Moist, and I'm going to get mean here, is he's afraid of the airplane. I'm so scared of taking an airplane. That's so fucking funny to me, dude. I'm too scared to go on the roller coaster. I'm sorry. It's like legitimately funny. You lost me there. I'm sorry, but if you're a little bit nervous on the plane, that's a natural thing. We're doing something unnatural. We're unnatural. We're flying at 35,000 feet at, 500 miles per hour. That's not something human beings were meant to do. It's totally normal to be a little bit nervous about that. But to absolutely refuse to fly ever is a sign that your brain is irrational. And it's embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed by that. And you should work on it. You should get mental health treatment. He has crippling OCD around most of these things. It's not the best look to go. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Woke One is here. We're never going to leave Woke One. Oh my God, I'm being so ableist against OCD. You got me. Holy shit, you got me. I'm being super ableist against OCD. Oh God. The safest place in the entire United States is at 35,000 feet in a commercial airliner. Yes, exactly. Holy shit, this is why we can never win. Oh my God. We can never win because everybody's gotta, like, listen, I could have empathy for people who are struggling with mental illness, but at the same time also say, hey, what you're doing is irrational, right? Like you're allowed, like if a schizophrenic is saying, hey, Mike, I see a hallucination of you saying that you're going to kill me. It's not ableist for me to go, that's irrational, bro. That's not happening. That's not real. Similarly, going, I'm super scared of the airplane as a 32-year-old man is fucking embarrassing. Especially if he wants to be Mr. Masculinity. He goes around policing men for their masculinity and shit. If you want to be Mr. Policing men for cringe and masculinity guy, you can't be scared of the airplane. John Madden never flew. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what blew MoistCr1TiKaL up? Penguin Zero? It's his cringe videos. I'm addicted to cringe again. By the way, if you don't know what cringe is basically mostly what it's used against men. It's to police their masculinity, right? Like that's it. I mean, it's also fine to like cringe is unforgivable. That's bullying people, dude. Most of the time, it's bullying neurodivergent people. So you want to be like, oh, don't bully the poor man. He's only a 32-year-old chud. He's allowed to be afraid of the airplane going zoom, zoom. Grow the fuck up, Woke One. OCD is super treatable. Remain optimistic that things can get better for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being very empathetic. Joshua. The Brain Domain chat is a mental health professional, and he's here to help you. If you are somebody who's considering getting therapy, or you feel like you're struggling with mental illness, the Brain Domain is someone that you can go and get some really actionable advice on where to go from here. So you should check them out. But I'm sorry, chat. I'm gonna keep making fun of the 32-year-old man for not wanting to fly in the airplane. Can someone explain to me why he's successful on YouTube? Because he's very intelligent at working the algorithm. So what he's very good at is, first of all, he's been on YouTube since the beginning. So basically, whenever something is trending, he jumps onto the algorithm and as the caboose. And because he's got a large enough following now, anything he makes about a trending video gets pushed to the top. And so he continually sustains himself by basically tailing the most popular content. And because he's huge, he will just perpetually remain relevant as long as he keeps talking about whatever the trending topic of the day is. As far as his content, it is designed to be the most fence-sitting, centrist, conventional wisdom take, so he doesn't offend his audience. That's basically all he does. So he's basically a parasite. You don't ride the algorithm by being brave or principles. Listen. There's different ways to ride the algorithm, right? Like, there are different ways to ride the algorithm. You can ride the algorithm and have a point of view. That's what I do. That's what Hassan does. That's what the Majority Report does. That's the nature of the game. That's why I'm talking about this video in the first place, is I am, unfortunately, playing the game of internet attention where it's like, MoistCr1TiKaL finally had a take. So now we can talk about this, and I'm using him because... And he should have no problem with it, because that's the only thing he's ever done in his entire career. He has no goals. He has no artistic desires. It is to jump in front of the algorithm and make goof juice for profit. So why doesn't he talk about the Denham's case if he reacts? Because it would require... Oh, that's a good question. It would require him to challenge his audience of many of them are reactionary anti-feminists. So Denham's has been turned into a 2-minute hate for the online right, even though she's been correct about everything she said. So if he were to say something positive about Denham's, it would force him to stand against his audience of chud Asmongold right-wingers. So him actually having to, and that's part of why you could tell he's a fucking fraud, because he's unwilling to tell his audience the truth. He just wants to be liked. It's really the most advanced narcissism, which is, I'm gonna curate my public persona to always be on the side of where conventional wisdom is right now. And I'm sorry if you like the guy, you're wrong. It is what it is. I don't mind offending the people that like MoistCr1TiKaL. What exactly are you liking about this guy? In my humble opinion, Parasite is overstating his malignance. He's a bottom feeder sifting through garbage that nobody wants except lower life forms. Wrong. He boosted the Kaya attacks on Hassan. He joins in on right-wing like anti-SJW propaganda. He is the open end of the funnel of the right wing. Like you're confused. He's just better at being an enlightened centrist than other people, but he's on the right. And on his podcast, he had Nazis. You're just confused about who the guy is because he's very good at managing perception. He had, what's his name? It's like Count Dankula. Yeah, Count Dankula. They gave him a Count Dankula on the podcast. And I'm sure there's other people that have been on there. And then he attacked iDubbbz for basically renouncing his racist era. His best friend is a big Hassan hater. Yeah. His co-host is basically a Turkish-German Nazi. Yeah. He's the wide end of the funnel for the right. And a lot of people, again, the reason why people don't speak the truth about this guy is because he's very popular and it just damages you to go against him. You know what I mean? Like, because he's perceived to be a centrist, going against him doesn't serve anyone's interest. So they just don't. But I don't mind speaking the truth about these fucking hacks.
Really put the nipple clamps on it and figure out what all the hoopla is. And it is a real thing.
He did lowly reacts with Nux Taku? I didn't know about that. I don't know anything about that, so I can't speak.
Pugilistic legal paperwork has been filed against iDubbbz, so now they're gonna duke it out, not with knuckle sandwiches, but extremely expensive litigation. Off rip, before I even get into the spaghetti and meatballs of the actual story here, there is just something that pets my peeves. There is something that grinds my gears, greases my cheeks.
The thing about Florida is that Florida as an entity is on a clock. And this is something that everybody who's intelligent knows, but doesn't say out loud. Miami has got an expiration date. Tampa is going to get hit by a hypercane. It's only a matter of time before these places are gone. And when it actually hits, when the big ones hit, it's not going to be able to be recovered. Like Florida as an entity is a ticking time bomb. And that's a truth nuke. Like Miami itself now has daytime flooding. And the bedrock under Miami is limestone. So as the waters rise, it's going to start structurally, like the actual structural stability of Miami is in question. It's a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, exactly. Everywhere as an entity is a ticking time bomb. I think if you live in Chicago or Pittsburgh, you're going to find yourself much more, you're in a much more stable situation climactically than if you live in, say, Tampa, Florida. And I'm sorry if you're a Floridian. I lived in Florida. I actually like Florida. My most chud opinion is Florida is actually not that bad, and it's sad what's happening to Florida. I actually like Florida. I was born in Florida. I've spent a lot of time in Florida. I actually like all of Florida. I even like the Everglades. A fan boat is fun as fuck. I think Tampa is, honestly, I think Tampa is a fine city for what it is. If you want to chud max, Tampa is a great city for chud maxing. I actually think it's like the capital of chud. What the fuck are you saying, lad? What do you mean? Mike's biggest L. The thing about me is I actually like America. Not the governmental entity, but the place. I am not, I actually like the hoi polloi. Green Bay, Wisconsin has built an extra 60% extra capacity for clean water for the people expected to move up here. Yeah, I mean, the Rust Belt is going to make a big comeback. I think investing in Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia is probably the smartest move you can make. Obviously, New York is a no-brainer, but doesn't chud mean dumb right-winger? It's a little bit more complicated than that. What about Cleveland? You know what? Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to have a comeback. Tell me what you like about Texas. Texas is a really good place for us to collect energy for the rest of the country. Also, I do like Texas barbecue, not gonna lie. Texas barbecue does slap. What's the worst state? Probably Wyoming. No, actually, even Wyoming has some beauty for the starkness. Yeah, Wyoming's good. The worst state. Because I like Big Sky. You know, I like Big Sky. So I'm kind of a West simp as well. Worst state. What do you guys think? That's a tough one. Almost every state is pretty nice, to be honest with you. Iowa, I don't think I've been to Iowa, so I can't judge. I've been to a lot of places, but I don't think I've been to Iowa. I'd have to check my I don't think I've been to Iowa, so I would believe you that it sucks. Idaho is awful? No fucking way. No fucking way. You think Idaho sucks? Come on. What? No fucking way. Dude, come on. Delaware is just corporate tax havens. Delaware is barely a place, but Delaware? Come on. Delaware is great. Again, America is actually pretty sweet.
We're currently at Old Ferry Landing in Assateague Island National Seashore. It's called Old Ferry Landing because before we had a bridge, this is where the ferry would bring the vehicles and the visitors to and drop them off. So I grew up camping here with my family.
It's so cute. Delaware is cute.
This park is well known for the wild horses that live here. Been here for over 300 years. I like to point out to people that that's not all that's here. There's fishing, crabbing, kayaking, bicycling, camping. Lauren and Larita are crabbing with us today. It's one of our...
I'm sorry, Delaware is pretty nice, man. Again, disagree. This is Maryland. It's the same shit. Worst state was without a doubt Mississippi, Missouri, or Oklahoma. I think Mississippi is the most... I would say Mississippi is the most sinister state. Of all the most cursed states where the most evil has been done, I think Mississippi is probably that. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana maybe, but no, the most evil, sinister poverty and racism and just pure exploitation. It is haunted. But even still, the mighty Mississippi, come on. Are we talking about overall? I'm just saying that I think every state is not bad in its own way. A lot of people are telling me that everything sucks, but I'm saying no. Arkansas sucks? I gotta tell you, I'm an Appalachian enjoyer. I don't think, I'm sorry. I walk the Appalachian Trail, so you know, I'm just not a. The Ozarks seem pretty sweet. North Carolina seems pretty. Your take on Utah? I would say that Utah is probably the place where republicanism has done the most damage and is actually actively ruining a place that's pretty sweet. And Mormonism is like an incredibly scary cult. But Utah itself, incredible. Mormonism is like the most successful cult, and it throws me off. As an Easterner, we didn't have as many Mormons. When I went and lived in Colorado, it was like, oh, that's when I first got my dose of like Mormonism. So you're talking about if you exterminated all the people in every state and only nature was left? No. I think Utah is pretty nice. The people are not that bad. They just, you know, a lot of them are members of a very freaky cult. You know, people can take contradictions, man. I know, you know, there's nice people that believe insane shit. You know, people can take contradictions. I think if you understand that and you really believe it, that's the only way you can be a socialist. If I was up here with a rod of iron cracking the skulls of everybody I think was stupid, that's all I would do every day, all day. I have learned a long time ago to tolerate stuff that to me is inexplicable and kind of get at peace with that. And also understand that everybody is imperfect, including myself, right? So we're all on this rock together. So I think to be a socialist, you have to love humanity and all its imperfection and all its sorrows. You can't just be up here going like, oh, I hate all the people in Mississippi, blah, blah, blah. That's fucking crazy, man. Yeah, as much as I dog Southern evangelicalism and like the deep South, the South in America has some of the best places on the planet. I dare you to go to New Orleans, Louisiana, and not feel the weight of history and the gloriousness of like what America, the promise of what America could be, and have it in the context of all that we've gone through. Like New Orleans is the place for me that really brings that home really well. I was started tripping when you were talking about Florida's time bomb because it is. I'm trying to stop it, man. I'm trying to diffuse it. Well, Floridians are like stopping me from diffusing the time bomb. Like, what do you want me to say? You want me to fucking sugarcoat it? I'm trying to stop it, man. I'm trying to save it. This is a pretty meandering tangent on a tangent. That's why you watch a streamer, though. You watch a streamer so that we can have conversations and we don't have a structured program here. I do whatever the fuck I want. If it ever seems like there's structure, you're welcome. I made that up. Leftists want to hate the blackest states. It's so fucked. Nah. That's not what's happening. What they're hating is the racial caste system. Don't let rad libs make you say that dumbass shit. The reason why we hate, when somebody says they hate Mississippi, it's because there's a racial caste system that's ugly. Like, that's what we're hating. Like, Mississippi is a refutation of a lot of what we believe, that if we live next door to each other, people will respect and accept the humanity of other people. And Mississippi says, no, they won't. That's why people have this kind of like hatred of Mississippi. It's not because of the black belt. It's not because of black people, because it makes us feel a certain type of way that maybe we're not going to win, that maybe racism and fascism will be able to perpetuate itself. That's what they're lashing out against. They're not lashing out against black people. That's crazy. If anything, we look at Mississippi, what we hate is the poverty. The poorest places in America are in Mississippi, and it's because of racism. Have you driven west through Kansas to Colorado? I lived in Colorado, but I never drove to Kansas. Colorado is like so fucking cool. You'll have the most flat, featureless, semi-arid land, and then all of a sudden you hit the Rampart Range, and it's like, holy shit. I need your Nebraska take. I heard Omaha is really underrated, and that the people of Omaha are super based. That's my Kansas take. Blazing? No, I think that's literally true. I think it's literally true. I'm part of Birmingham, Alabama DSA. We were seeing a massive surge in growth. We're the top 5 of the country for recruitment. Never give up. Oh, you guys are gonna do it. Oh, they're calling it the Hasanami bump. Holy shit, man. Holy shit. All right, let's watch this fucking centrist drivel. I should have just played it so we could get it over with. But I'm a Charlie like disappointed. I'm disappointed, man. Like if I had 20 million subscribers, I would have an opinion about shit once in a while, right? What's the point of even having it? What's the point of even doing any of this? You don't have enough money, Charlie? You don't have enough money yet? He's been going hard against Trump? Yeah, because everybody hates Trump now. And it doesn't fucking matter. He's a lame duck. It's the easiest fucking thing in the world to do to get the woke, because woke 2 is on its way back. So he's fucking pandering again. He's not a sheepdog. He's a fucking camp follower.
So much I can't resist yapping about it briefly. When I was in the trenches digging around for information about what all of this is about, I kept seeing people say that I refuse to cover these kind of things for a variety of different reasons. I'm ignoring it, this and that. I don't know how many more times I need to say this. I am just really not online that much these days. The only streams I watch are like the Summer Games Fest and like events like that, but I don't watch streams. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, and I don't go on Twitter, like, at all. I still have Twitter because I send and reply to DMs through there sometimes for like events, like Tyler One's League of Legends tournament. I heard from him on Twitter DM, so I have it for reasons like that. But I don't like doom scroll Twitter and see a bunch of things anymore. Look at the last tweet I made. So like I don't see a lot of these things that are going on anymore. But for some reason, everyone jumps to, oh, he must be ignoring it. He's got to be ignoring it. We can really tell a lot about this.
Guys, he only needs to make 17 videos about Legos. I made this so MoistCr1TiKaL could retire without anyone noticing.
I think it's bad, but I can see how some people can think it's good. I'm confused. Leave a comment below. I think it's bad, but...
Honestly, ethical AI use.
This guy from the things he refuses to cover. I just don't see them. The things I do hear about come from my friends sending them to me, or when I stream.
Like most of the time, people are like, hey, like AI, you know, takes jobs away from people, it destroys creativity, and, you know, uses up energy. But if you think about it, replacing every MoistCr1TiKaL video with that would probably save a significant amount of energy. It's like positively conservationist if you think about it.
Stream chat telling me about them, putting them on my radar. But if neither of those two avenues show it to me or tell me about it, I just never hear about it. And I'm not even a fucking streamer anymore, not full time. I'm like a semi-retired streamer. I stream sometimes, and sometimes I'll stream like 3-4 days in a row. But basically what I do now is I just play like old school games, like a lot of retro games or a lot of Steam cum dumpster games, like actual trash. So like I'm not even really a streamer, so I don't even see a lot of that either. So like it's not me.
The guy whose entire career is front running whatever's going viral is saying that he doesn't know what's going on the internet. All right. I mean, obviously we got to take his word for it, right? Let's see what videos he's been making. Lego bread tier list. Watch Mojo got even more pathetic. Drunkest judge ever. Degenerate cringe. Lego vigilantes. Lego scandal keeps getting messier. Unexpected twist to the Lego scandal. Police department responds to the Lego scandal. I'll still give you $25,000 if you can find these videos. Lego scandal is getting extremely dangerous and scary. Cringe officer embarrasses himself. Lego scandal keeps getting crazier. Wow, that's a huge price increase. Using a tweet. Video about a tweet. Lego scandal company response is horrible. Lego scandal situation is actually crazy. Cringe guy instigates police chase. I know you don't care about this. That's your entire channel. Another tweet as a source. Tweet as a source of his video. Tweet as a source of his video. Tweet as a source of his video. I don't use Twitter, by the way. I don't use Twitter, by the way. All the lazy ass fucking thumbnails. Also, he has the Asmongoldie outfit where he only wears a dirty white t-shirt in every fucking thumbnail. God, every single video is like, guys, he's gotta stay offline to make his Panda Express tier list. So, in other words, all he does is take like videos that went viral that have uncertain ownership, so he can have the biggest video using the viral clip. So like when like an armed robbery clip goes viral, he just takes it and then like reacts weekly to it so that he gets all the algorithmic money goes to him instead of whoever posted the clip originally. Is that basically the whole grift? So basically a lot of his videos are like, you know, surveillance camera footage or police body cam footage, because these are in public domain. So if they're going viral, he could just make videos on them without having to do anything. and nobody's gonna sue him for copyright infringement. And he can like get in front of the algorithm on all these videos and make millions. Guys, is the One Mies Peel overhyped? I'm looking at all his like original videos. All his original videos are reviewing fast food slop. Cool, man. This guy's not online, man. He's not online.
Waiting certain things
By the
for.
way, are you guys okay with me not liking this guy at all because he's just a right winger and a fence sitting chud who his entire career is based off of reaction content, and now he's going to keep silent on Denham's winning her case? He got more views from his Lego videos than Reckless Ben did. I mean, it's fucking disgusting. Like, what up? Mike, he still hasn't heard about Chud the Builder until a friend tells him, LOL. Wow, he did. Every time the right wing does something cringe, he didn't hear about it, guys. Oh, did a right wing creator do something cringe? He didn't hear about it. He didn't hear about it.
Various reason, I just literally don't ever hear about it, so I never learn about it. Now, there is some stories that I do hear about and get really invested in, like Bricks and Minifig.
As somebody who occasionally watches them, I've enjoyed the last hour or so of focus fire you've been giving him. By the way, if you're gonna be one of these slop merchants, I don't care. I mean, you're free to make whatever you want. If people watch it, congratulations on you on getting your bag. It's no big deal. But don't put yourself out there like some sort of arbiter of the internet. And then when something is directly attacking our industry, you're silent on it because you don't want to fight Ethan Klein and Destiny, you fucking coward.
Versus Reckless Ben. I've been very glued to that one, had my finger on the pulse of. But that was something I was put on my radar by friends and stream chat. So genuinely, I am just not online that much, so I don't see.
Oh yeah, he contacted Ethan Klein for comment on his lawsuits, but he didn't contact Hassan for the Kaya Gates bullshit.
A lot of it. So with that out of the way, I did spend like the last 3 hours learning about this defamation lawsuit between.
Mike, yesterday I discovered an old clip of you debating Destiny about AOC Birdie economics. 2 notes. You've perfected your look with long hair and beard. Holy shit, I had no idea how cringe Destiny's meltdowns could be. I mean, I could do a lot better with my look. I really don't think about that at all. Like, it is a problem for me. I do need to lock in and probably looks max a little bit. You know, like I probably should because it's television, right? Like, if I was hotter, more people would pay attention to what I'm saying. It is true. Like, they're not wrong. Mike, when are you going to start wearing suits? I used to do that. I used to have the Pete Buttigieg attire. At the very beginning of my streams, I had Pete Buttigieg attire. You're fine as fuck. Stop it. Chad, I can't help but notice Mike haven't talked about the gym gains in a while. Yeah, I know. Theo and I have been we've been out of the gym for about 6 weeks. It's really my fault. I mean, Vio's been recovering, you know, so I've been kind of lazy a little bit myself. I've been making a whole video about this thing because everyone has been bothering me about commenting on this thing, but guys, I really didn't hear anything about it or look into it despite getting bullied into making this video. I mean, the idea that like he's a 20 million subscriber channel, just short, and he doesn't have the ability to like do any work or research at all. This guy's making millions from YouTube and he can't pick up the phone to a lawyer and say, hey, can you talk to me about defamation? He can't pick up the phone to like, there's a law school in Tampa, I'm sure. He can call Cooley Law School, which is a pretty decent law school. And he can pick up the phone to Cooley and say, hey, do you have a con law professor? And then he could send an email to the con law professor and say, hey, I have a YouTube channel with 20 million subscribers. Would you talk to me about defamation and First Amendment rights? He's a lazy fuck. And again, he's making millions, okay? He's making millions. And he acts like, oh, I'm just some guy.
H3 and iDubbbz, because that did sound pretty concerning. Because there's always been like an unwritten rule on the internet, not just YouTube, where if there's beef online, it stays online. And you handle it online without, you know, going over that threshold, the event horizon of trying to use litigation to silence your opponent or something like that. That had always been etched in the stone tablets, the fucking 10 commandments of online discourse. And now all of a sudden, I'm hearing about H3 suing iDubbbz for defamation. So obviously I wanted to hear more about that. And after diving in, hitting that cannonball into the pool, I learned he has a lot of active lawsuits. I think it's 5, maybe 6 against other streamers and YouTubers. So
you think Ludwig and Moist are basically the same kind of human? I think Ludwig is actually a better person than MoistCr1TiKaL. I think MoistCr1TiKaL actually is the lowest of the low. Like, I'm not a fan of Ludwig, and I got a lot of criticisms to make, but Moist is the lowest of the low.
It's a bit of a rampage he's been on. I knew about one before all this, which was against the snark community. That I did hear about, and that one made a lot of sense to me, actually. The snark community, from what I recall, was doing some diabolical, like, harassing, stalking stuff, sending CPS. I remember that, and like human skulls. Those things I recalled from like the snark community, so it made sense that he would pursue litigation there, because that is highly illegal fucking psychopath behavior. So that one I remember, and that one made sense to me. But when I was learning about these other ones, granted I haven't dove too deep into all those, because this is clearly a lot. I was mainly focused on the defamation one, but man, Ethan Klein has become like the Nintendo of YouTubers. He is extraordinarily litigious. Anyway, enough blabbering. What started this defamation lawsuit was this iDubbbz stream.
Okay, this is my watermark for the stream. I don't want any of my content being stolen. Got another Kalshi ad? I'm sorry, Fazium. We're all getting Kalshi ads these days. It's okay. So I do want to say I don't agree with what's being said in this comment here, but I'm putting it on screen because I think it should be addressed, because it's a big, bold accusation that's very fucked up.
It is very fucked up, and it.
Wow, you put it on your screen. You should be getting sued. You did defamation. You put it on your screen. Dumb fuck. The logic of Ethan Klein's lawsuit is that you should be getting sued, MoistCr1TiKaL. That's the logic of the lawsuit. You said, hey, you reported on Destiny making this accusation, and now I guess that's defamation.
It's despicable that he would think it's a good idea to post that there while knowingly aware that it's not true. So,
okay, first of all, I gotta back up here. I don't know shit. I don't know shit. Neither do you, Charlie, unless you're saying that you have 100% like panopticon omniscience. You don't. There's no evidence for it that I'm aware of. I can't say it happened, but to say I know it's not happening, I don't know the guy. I don't know his house. I don't know his kids. I don't know. I haven't had a conversation with any of them one-on-one. So what the fuck are you saying? You know it's not true. How do you know it's not true? Destiny has talked to Ethan Klein. Destiny knows Ethan Klein better than I do. Destiny said Ethan Klein is a pedophile. If there's anybody who should be sued, it's Destiny. He knows Ethan. They've talked.
The message isn't Ian's. This comes from Destiny, and he found this screenshot.
Yeah, and that's all I know about Ethan Klein is that he had a Reddit account called Pedo Troll, which posted a lot of really fucking disgusting pedophilic comments on it. Now, he says it's satire and jokes, but that's what I know about him, is that he named his own account Pedo Troll. That's what I know about Ethan Klein and his public persona as being, you know, an attacking of anybody who is pro-Palestine. So, like, that's what I know about Ethan.
And he kept it on screen for a very long time. And he said he didn't agree with it, but thinks it needs to be addressed because it's so fucked up. It is a terrible stream. Just giving it to you real blunt, real raw. It is no good. And I'm no stranger to getting shit talked by iDubbbz. He has said some very nasty, very untrue things about me on his broadcast as well. But
God, he's such a well-poisoning rat. Like, if you're somebody who's aware of like persuasive techniques and you understand talking to a loyal audience, whenever you lead a conversation by saying, a person I'm about to talk to really attacks me all the time, guys, and he's really unfair and he's very dishonest, that is taking a side. You know that your audience is fans of you. This is not him going in front of a neutral audience. This is him going in front of his subscribers and saying, iDubbbz stream is no good, and he attacks me all the time. And notice there were no examples, right? He didn't cite anything. He just gave well-poisoning bullshit directives to his audience. Rat maneuver, Ethan Klein cider. Just because most people are not aware enough of persuasion to understand what's going on. I know what's going on. Do you like Ethan and Destiny, Moist? Are you scared of them? Are you scared of Destiny and Ethan Klein, Moist?
What is being reported in regards to this stream isn't exactly telling the whole story. Now, when I first heard of this lawsuit, I was reading a bunch about it, but I wanted more information, like, directly associated with it to make sure I wasn't getting, like...
All right, here is one of Ethan Klein's amazing employees. Amazing, by the way.
If Ethan was talking about this right now, he'd find a way to bring up molesting children. And I say that with so much love to him. I shouldn't have said that. But he probably would. And he would find a way to say it. Don't question why I would say that. I was just sharing what I was thinking. And I hope Ethan does not see this. So... But am I wrong?
Fraudulent or misleading shit fed to me. So I reached out to someone whom I know is on the H3 team, and Ethan did hear about that, so he did talk directly about me on his show and challenge me on a few things, and I did eventually get to talk directly with Ethan, and I shared my full perspective on things.
This rat fuck speculated about how Hassan was secretly shocking his dog, refused to call him about it, helped boost the Hassan hate on the algorithm, and then now he's calling Ethan Klein to get his perspective on his lawsuits, his bad faith lawsuits. What a fucking disgusting rat.
And the problems I had around it.
Did you reach out to iDubbbz? Did you reach out to iDubbbz? I mean, you want to have both sides, right? You want to reach out to both sides.
Concerns, and got his perspective on things to see if there's any misunderstandings and such. Ultimately, I don't think we fully saw eye to eye on this, which, you know, that's going to happen. I fully understand that this is...
Notice the way he talked about Ethan. We're not seeing eye to eye. You know, it's the way things are. He said iDubbbz streams are bad. iDubbbz streams are bad, and that he attacks him all the time.
It's a very emotionally charged subject for him after everything him and his family went through with snarkers in particular. I know that the CPS and the human skulls incident are like a legitimately traumatizing thing. Like
there is absolutely no evidence that a snarker did that. There is no evidence. None has been advanced. He said the FBI took the skulls. There's no evidence that anybody called CPS. CPS said that people that called were them. He had to make a sniveling apology and said that Denham's was not responsible. He had to withdraw. I even posted it when it happened because it was so ridiculous.
I want to address something from Denham's correction demand in her letter. The letter claims I falsely stated that Denham's herself filed the preceding CPS report, or that Denham's caused others to do so. The letter also states on March 11th, I acknowledged Denham's had denounced herself or anyone in her community making contact with CPS. Let me be clear. I have never claimed that Denham's called CPS. I have never implied that Denham's called CPS. If my statements were interpreted as stating this, I want to correct the record and make it clear that I do not believe that Denham's called CPS. Obviously, moronic, idiotic, stupid. Let me also address the point in the letter that I claimed Denham caused others to call CPS. I did not state, and I do not believe Denham's made a direct call to action to her audience to contact CPS. Obviously, right? Never said that.
So, the Starkers, except there's no evidence. He just lies about shit, you fucking moron. Here's what Ethan thinks of his video. Charlie's coverage was fair. It's okay he disagrees, and I don't expect everyone who hasn't heard me talk about this stuff for hours to understand the intricacies of everything. Even if you have, it's fine to have a differing opinion. I appreciate him being respectful, hearing me out, after reading my statement. Ultimately, I'm a father protecting my children. That is something I hope even the most cynical among us would be able to understand, and no matter how you cut it, $22 is still a lot for a bag of cookies.
Fraudulent CPS call. Like, I get how inexcusable and abhorrent that is. I really do. But I just truly don't believe that this lawsuit is in any way, shape, or form helpful to anyone outside of the lawyers. They're fucking smiling ear to ear. They're salivating right now, literally drooling with a bib on. But they're
drooling with a bib on off of the meritless nature of this lawsuit, and he's gonna lose even in Canada. The problem is that he's gonna waste somebody's time and money. Now, lawyers in Canada are probably a lot cheaper than they are in the US, so I doubt it'll even be that big of a deal. But like, you're such a fucking disgusting rat. How does anybody like this guy? I really need to understand it. This guy's entire career is based off stealing other people's posts to react weekly to them. And he has nothing to say about Ethan Klein, that's his entire career as well, tried to attack our industry. Pathetic fucking worm, dude.
Harmful to, I think, literally everyone involved, and does have potential ramifications for others way outside of it. I have never...
By the way, Destiny said it.
I hope CPS takes his kids. I'll say it. I do. And I hope they cry about it. And then CPS come for my kid. And then CPS can take Dan's kids. You know what? All of our children at the end of the day will just be fostered by Child Protective Services. Okay? And that'll just be... And then we can all relieve ourselves. He's just going to be a rehash of every other fucking video made. God, it's so crazy how this fucking retard, as he's spamming on Instagram and coughing and dying of whatever diseases he has, is telling me like, oh, Destiny, I used to like you so much and you need help and blah, blah, blah. It's like the exact shit that Assad was doing to him. Good memes.
They're legitimately frightened of Destiny. Which is like hilarious, by the way. I've been fighting with Destiny since I was a 200 viewer Andy. This motherfucker has 19 million subscribers and he's hiding his head like a fucking bitch. No one is scared of Destiny. Ethan Klein and MoistCr1TiKaL are. Are you shitting me? Of course they are. Of course they are.
Never and will never be a fan of extreme litigation, and I have always been vocally advocating against creators going that nuclear path, and I always will. Of course, there are cases where it is understandable. Like I said, going at...
Like for example, if I were to sue Ethan Klein for defamation, right? Do you think MoistCr1TiKaL would not make a video about it trashing me? Just think about that for a second. If all I did was sue Ethan Klein for defamation, do you think that MoistCr1TiKaL would ignore it and say, I didn't see it on Twitter? If Hassan sued Ethan Klein for defamation, do you think MoistCr1TiKaL would ignore it and go like, oh, I didn't see it on my Twitter. I was too busy. I had 8 videos that thumbnails were of Twitter posts, but I'm not on Twitter, guys.
After the snarkers that sent a fraudulent CPS thing through and the skulls and stuff.
No evidence that happened. No evidence that happened. No evidence that happened. Also, even saying it's fraudulent isn't having a pro-Ethan opinion. Ethan said on his stream multiple times that his children caught parasites from eating shits, or implied they were eating shit. He said that the dogs were shitting and they're putting everything in their mouths, okay? That's what Ethan said. His own community reacted to it. So the idea, and CPS said somebody who knew Ethan made the report. There's no evidence whatsoever that CPS was done by snarkers. None. You're just repeating lies. Why? Because he said it loudly and often? That means it's true?
That one I do understand. But this
it turned out the child didn't have the parasite from the dog. It turned out that wasn't true. But Ethan said that on his stream in front of thousands of people.
Could never support that. And I just can't see the real just cause behind it. And I think it is a terrible example for other creators in the space to follow, where maybe they believe that even though this is about like a Canadian...
Okay, like, I don't know that I can make it through this whole thing, man. Like, I don't know that I can make it. Like, we're 8 minutes in, and like honestly, he's like, I don't throw around this often, but I just think he is absolutely irredeemably bad at this. And it's an embarrassment. And it's very obvious what he's doing here. He's trying to like save his own ass. He's tried to shield his own ass while at the same time getting his community to be anti-iDubbbz. He's like, listen, I'm just so principled, I'm against it. But iDubbbz attacks me and the Starkers did CPS. But I understand why people would do it, but I'm just so principled that I think it's bad. But the Starkers did the skulls.
Defamation lawsuit. Well, maybe they can try their luck in the States. You know, it's not like defamatory lawsuits are exclusive to Canada. There's better protections here, no doubt.
When did my Lego drama channel start branching out to general drama? Y'all remember when this stuff would result in diss tracks? After 2 years of ignoring it, I didn't expect Charlie to ever touch Ethan's stuff. Oof. He should have stayed out of the pig pen with the political grifters. He is a fucking grifter. He posted the Kaya shit with no evidence. This is like Kendrick versus Drake for unemployed people who are still stuck in 2016, 2017. I'm not online that much these days. Next video. So I'm sure you're all aware now of the Roblox 6-7 tycoon situation. Yeah. You don't joke about this kind of stuff. And oh, Destiny was just joking around. And the exact same argument is why no one takes Ethan seriously anymore. Oops. From fence sitting to fence riding. Admirable. Yeah. This is low key a very cowardly way of covering this drama. Yeah. I'm actually surprised he's covering this. Bro posts daily, but try to convince us he's not online much anymore. Even his own, even the replies are like making fun of him. All right, can we watch some Fantano video? I think it'll probably be better and shorter.
To all the detractors who are saying that I'm targeting women, that I'm a hypocrite for suing for copyright infringement, I just have this to say. I don't care. What I do hope, though, is that you'll support their crowdfunding efforts to defend themselves. Because let's face it, I want to make sure there's money left over for me when I win my lawsuits.
I don't really want to say too much here because I truly don't have to say too much. And I don't like to spend, a whole lot of time on the internet directly going at, in a very dramatic way, other creators. It's like the purpose of my platform for the most part, even though I do like to kind of shit on right wingers and, total pieces of garbage on the internet who I think make the music community worse. When it comes to like the broad content creator sphere, unless somebody's like, just being completely wrong-headed about some music or talking about me or just being like a real fucking idiot, I like to keep mostly quiet and just like kind of chill. And I don't pay attention to a whole lot of streamers to begin with, across the board. But I feel like what just happened here needs to be discussed because it's a very broad issue that affects all content creation across the internet. But what seems to have happened, thankfully, is Denims. I stream, but I don't consider myself like a hardcore streamer. But I'll say fellow streamer Denims just got a tentative ruling in the lawsuit leveled against her by Ethan Klein of the H3H3 podcast. Now,
I like Fantano. I hate the preamble every left person does before standing up for people. Solidarity is very rare. Remember when I got called an anti-Semite and a bunch of people that called themselves leftists were trying to like promote it, even though it was Zionists and Destiny and Asmongold that were pushing it to try to deplatform me, and people went along with it. Remember that? And then what happened? Well, then Caroline showed solidarity. Hassan showed solidarity because they're like, yeah, that's not what Mike is like. That's not what Mike meant. There's no fucking way. You notice that? Notice how scumbags try to like, they like to feed. And then when the moment is, I need to like stand up for someone else, they're fucking quiet.
I don't want to spend, this little rant here and this talk kind of getting into the nitty gritty of the content nuke and Ethan's psychosexual obsession with Hassan and iDubbbz and Anissa and a host of other things that about the whole situation I just particularly find weird. Are there elements of these dynamics that Ethan genuinely feels like, burned about and pissed off about? Like maybe, possibly, I feel like I don't know enough about these interpersonal relationships, again, on a personal level, to really comment on that front. What pisses me off about the whole thing and what makes this tentative ruling in Denims's favor about all of this, what makes me happy about this with joy is like, look, no matter what problem you have with any of these people, personally or politically, whatever, you cannot be using this as an opportunity to destroy internet content creation and reaction content, commentary content. I don't care how up your own ass you are. I don't care how psycho you are. I don't care how demented or mentally ill you are. You cannot be using your millions of dollars and you cannot be using your platform to sue and go after other creators simply for the sin of reacting to your content, good or not, and having their own thoughts and opinions about it that you don't like. There are lots of people who comment on and talk about my content. Are there situations in which I would maybe take legal action if those comments happen to come from a defamatory place and it was like all and out, like complete lies or whatever? I mean, sure, but that's a different thing than going after somebody just merely for reacting to your content and making the claim that it was stealing. making the claim that this person is stealing from you by reacting to your content. Bro, that is literally how you got started on the internet, dude. You literally had your own fair use lawsuit about this same shit.
The undisputed purpose of the defendant's live stream is to contest, criticize, and mock the plaintiff's message, which the courts have found weighs in favor of fair use due to its transformative nature. And they even proceed to cite Ethan Klein's case.
I feel bad and I regret ever having platformed you and had you on my own channel on a podcast and pushed people in your direction, because you turned around and ended up doing this. And again, I'm not even talking about whatever sort of like political or ideological sort of, you know, disagreements you may have with these individuals or that I may have with you. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about you're literally using your platform and literally using these petty disagreements, your own emotions that you're so tied up in this situation, to destroy the very industry that we all operate within because you're mad that you're getting criticized. Are some of those criticisms unfair? And are they coming from like weird terminally online psychos that are on Reddit or this platform or that platform? Yeah, I'm sure some of them are. I deal with those types of people too all the time. But to be going after other streamers for commenting on your content, and if this lawsuit ended up going in Ethan Klein's favor, effectively would have destroyed the business model of anybody and everybody doing this same exact thing. Reacting to other content, commenting on other content, transformatively critiquing and pulling apart other content that would have created such an ugly, horrible, just destructive, slippery slope. And you did it over some bullshit. You did it over some stupid, mindless, petty, emotional, moronic bullshit. Is literally all you did it for. You didn't do it for any other reason other than some petty, stupid bullshit. And I'm glad that Denims had it rule in her favor. Not only because, you know, I like and respect Denims as a streamer, but this would have been bad for everybody making content on the internet if this had ruled in Ethan's favor. So I'm just coming on here and just celebrating this W, not for anyone's sake other than all of us, because if you like this stream, if you like the content of any person on the internet where they are reacting to a video or talking about somebody else's video or talking about some other piece of content somebody made and incorporated clips or incorporated a snippet here, a section there, or, you know, reacting to a full video on a stream, it would have been fucking dunzo. It would.
I want you to understand something about it. Like, I agree with Anthony completely. I think it's also in contradiction of the First Amendment and the way we experience the internet. And the only reason to be concerned is that a lot of lawyers and judges are fucking boomers and they don't understand how the world fucking currently works. And if Ethan Klein exploits the fact that there's some elderly dumbass who doesn't understand the internet and they get some tortured interpretation because he's got millions of dollars and the people defending it don't, that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to cause a profound risk to our entire industry. So I think fundamentally, any good faith interpretation of the First Amendment would make this ridiculous. So I don't think it would happen. But what Ethan Klein is trying to do is basically live in a world where he abuses his money and he puts our industry at risk. Now, he didn't think Denims would be strong enough to make it to court. He thought she would fold. He was basically doing a nuisance lawsuit, and that she would settle like Cr1TiKaL did. Cr1TiKaL did nothing wrong. Cr1TiKaL would have won her case too. This is actually something that I said the entire time. What to Casey is, this case is meritless, but you have to like lay out $100,000 to get to the point where you win. And then there's still risk, right? You could lay out that $100,000 and there's no guarantee. Well, Cr1TiKaL has a family to support, including 2 disabled parents. So she could take that risk. And that's what Ethan was counting on for Denims too. That's why he sues. That's why he's suing iDubbbz, because iDubbbz doesn't have a lot of extra money. He's he's trying to put financial strain on the guy. That's all it is. That's why he's not suing me, because I have errors and omissions insurance. I have umbrella coverage. He sues me. I hand it to my fucking insurance company, and then I take the money. I do a fundraiser here. For my countersuit, I sue his ass. I've got 7,000 subscribers, 6,000 subscribers month to month. He knows I could easily afford. I could drop $100,000 on this on a fucking lawsuit with your guys' help. I would be the best client ever. I would do a bunch of the fucking legal work for my lawyer to cut down the fees. It would be fun for me. It'd be an intellectual exercise. I'd love to go down to the USCLA Law Library and write my own pleadings. In fact, I'd have every fucking motion we could possibly do. I'd fucking file one for Ethan Klein. Every step of the fucking way, I'd have motions on motions on motions. I'd get that guy up to 250 fucking thousand. It would be a dream to be sued by Ethan. Might even make me study for the California bar, to be honest with you. Like, again, there's a reason why he's not suing Hassan or me. He's suing these people because they're vulnerable. Like, there's a reason why I carry umbrella coverage, is because of nuisance lawsuits like this. Because I've been in law, I've been in politics for over 10 years, and I understand that you speak out on shit, people will fucking sue you. So it's nice to have an insurance company that you could hand a slap lawsuit to, and they'll pay for the shit, and then they'll get paid back because you'll win. Like, I understand how this game works. I pay hundreds of dollars a month to make sure that I'm covered from any annoying fucking lawsuit. So, like, that's why he's not suing. Do you know how much money iDubbbz has? I don't. And, like, it's very important that Denims, and I got to tell you, like, you know, talking to Denims over the past year on this shit on a pretty regular basis. When I told you guys that Denims would never give in and I raised money for her on this stream, where we raised thousands of dollars for Denims, I did so because I spoke to her and I understood her iron will to do what was right. And that's why we were there for her. Because fighting back against these scum is the right thing to do.
Have been donezo. Like, it would have set legal precedent that would have allowed any other content creator to go after a streamer, go after a YouTuber monetarily, have this video, that video, this other thing pulled down, taken down. And look, we're already dealing with a litany of that every week when it comes to movies and music and these massive corporations that like throw their weight around online and make it difficult to pull apart any content coming out of the mainstream these days. We don't need to be doing it from content creator to content creator. It's complete bullshit. So look, if you consume any content like this, you enjoy any content like this, you need to be aware of this lawsuit. You need to be aware of this ruling, and you need to be sharing it, and you need to be like celebrating it, because we really did genuinely, like, I mean, I feel like if you had two brain cells to rub together and, you know, you already saw sort of like previous, you know, sort of like rulings in regards to fair use law, like as long as Denims was willing to sort of like put up the legal fight, chances were it wasn't going to go in Ethan's favor. But there were two other people who we pressured here legally who were not able to withstand the prolonged fees and all of that shit, who, you know, I feel very bad and I feel very sorry for. Ethan was happy to sort of like harass legally out of house and home almost, because it became so expensive to continue fighting him with lawyers. And I've been in this situation recently too. I mean, you know, not over a, you know, copyright thing, you know, with that douchebag Ronnie Radke. I spent tens of thousands of dollars to get that W, only to get paid, you know, my legal fees, you know, but it was like, I still ended up spending more money in the long run on all that. It was still a complete fucking waste of my time. Was, you know, stressful to at least some degree. Obviously not as stressful as it was, I'm sure, for the loser who lost. So, I mean, I've been in these situations before, and I know how scary and weird and freaky it can be to have like a complete psychopath and weirdo going after you with like these seedy, shitty, no moral having, garbage, ambulance chasing, shithead lawyer freaks who will literally agree to do anything so long as you pay them to do it. I know that feeling, and it's not very good. And I absolutely, you know, commend Denims for, you know, putting up the legal fight that she needed to in order to get this ruling and get this to where it needed to be, because, you know, Denims deserves really, truly like some accolades for doing this 100%. Because, you know, her withstanding this and bringing it to this point and defending herself inadvertently, you know, secondarily is really like a public service to all of this, because had this ruling gone in Ethan Klein's favor, or had she folded and allowed Ethan to...
What's to prevent Ethan to sue Denims again? So when you lose a case, that it's over. It's a final decision. It's called estoppel or issue estoppel. So when I have a lawsuit with Ethan Klein about copyright over the nuke, and then I win the case, and it goes through all the levels of appeal, he can't sue me on that again because he's estopped. He loses automatically because the courts have final decision-making authority. That's what final is. So right now, Denims has won at the trial level. The step she won is called motion for judgment on the pleadings, which is very, very early. Okay? Very, very early. In a case, this is almost as early as you could possibly win. This is a pre-trial victory. The burden of proof that she reached is extremely high. It's very hard to win for motion for judgment on the pleading. Okay? Now, he has the right to appeal that to federal circuit court. He could argue that, it's actually not violation of, it actually is, not a matter of law, fair use, because blah, 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 blah. I mean, honestly, he would have to make new law. His case is that weak. And I could tell you right now, if I'm Denims, I'm going for my money back, Like, there's different things that could happen. I don't want to get into like the strategy or like anything like that because I don't want to help Ethan Klein's lawyers because they are really incompetent. So I'm not going to I don't want to even say any strategy that Denims might do because maybe I picked it up in a conversation with her and I'm inadvertently leaking it. Like, I don't want to say any strategy, even though I could, because I have her interests at heart. And I don't want to, inadvertently say something that she might be doing. But let's just say that Ethan Klein, if he keeps this up, is going to end up owing Denims hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if necessary, I will help make that happen personally. I'm not going to let Ethan Klein win a lawsuit against Denims because there wasn't enough money. So again, he could sue it, but ultimately he's going to end up paying her legal fees.
Run roughshod over her just for reacting.
We will do fundraisers. We'll do what it takes to make sure, and now that Anthony Fantano has made this video, we're going to make him help fundraise if we have to. But I have a feeling the problem is if Ethan Klein keeps this going, now that Denims has her win, Frogan can now use this, right? Frogan could use this case because it's the same court. She could use and it's very similar facts. So she could use this argument, right? And his case is fucking weak. She could do summary motion for dismissal, not even have to go to the pleadings, right? Even earlier. It could be even cheaper. So I honest to God, Ethan Klein is just, these lawsuits they're hopeless.
The content nuke that he did, this would have meant that, again,
Frogan's case gone through the court? No.
It would be more difficult for other content creators to do this sort of thing. To do exactly what I'm doing, to do exactly the sort of content that I'm sure you guys.
Was it dismissed with prejudice? It wouldn't. It would be a judgment, and yes, it would be dismissed with prejudice.
React to other creators do.
And the reason why is it's not a procedural or jurisdictional error. It is a fundamental legal bar that it fails to clear for failure to state a claim.
On the internet, other creators doing, whether they're talking about politics, whether they're talking about movies, whether they're talking about whatever piece of content they're pulling apart or commentating on. But yeah, poor Casey Tron had to do a hostage video apology toward Ethan like she was being held at gunpoint on the internet, which is fucking crazy. Yeah, shout out to the Anthony Fantano in San Diego. Yeah, no, H3 weaponizing the copyright system because of political reasons is fucking pathetic. Again, we came so close to shit being completely burned to the ground because this moron had to take something that is so vital to all of our content and burn it all down and essentially say well, I'm taking my ball and going home because you made a piece of content talking about my content that I don't like. Fuck you. again, shout out to Denims, and I'm glad that it blew up in Ethan's face and that everybody got to witness it. And really, like, you know, 15K likes and 600 retweets on this is shockingly low. Like, there should be way more people openly celebrating this, because we really truly did just like dodge a fucking bullet. And the precedent that Ethan's last lawsuit along fair use lines, the precedent that set, he literally just tried to burn it to the ground over some personal petty shit, which is just, again, ridiculous. And it's crazy to sort of like see the contrast between then and now in terms of like this man's public perception and optics. Like, when he originally won that last lawsuit, he was a hero to the internet because he allowed for there to be sort of this, like, you know, open and normalized discussion and engagement with, you know, sort of transformative content creation and reacting to other things online that has become the standard. And now you're trying to rip it away from everybody because you're pissed off over some personal shit. I'm sorry, but it's just stupid as fuck. So shout out to Denims. If you are, you know, still on the Bird app, as satanic and as awful as it is, I do recommend that you go on here and give her some congratulations and share this if you can, because I do feel like more people need to be aware of, you know, how big of a W this is for the internet and everybody.
What an absolute fucking king. What an absolute fucking king. We love ourselves an Anthony Fantano video. Vance Boltler pled guilty to all 6 federal counts. Feds drop death penalty pursuit. What the fuck? Why the fuck are they accepting the plea? Why are they accepting the plea? What the fuck? Why are they accepting the plea? Fucking liberals, man. He's the guy who shot a bunch of Democrat politicians. All right, chat. Look at how Kansas reacted to Kenyans coming in to stay.
Algeria, and what's the idea you have about Algeria?
So I want to say thank you to Team Algeria for choosing our hometown, Lawrence, Kansas, to come here. And so welcome. Welcome to United States.
Sorry,
welcome
Algerian.
to Kansas.
Somebody told me it was Kenyans, but it's Algerian. Sorry about that, chat. I just misremembered from a chatter.
What do you know about Algeria, and what's the thing make you to come to support Algeria?
So I came mainly because I was so happy that they chose our town for their base camp, and we just know Algeria is on the Mediterranean Sea, and then the south part is in the Sahara Desert. But and we know that you gained independence from France kind of around the time I was born. So we don't know too much, but we want to welcome you here.
What about you?
Well,
what do you want to say about Algeria, and like, what do you have idea about Algeria?
Well, yeah, the only idea I have is so far everybody here has been very friendly and very welcoming, and I'm really glad Algeria is going to be here. And 1, 2, 3, vive l'Algérie!
Again, like, most likely 3x Trump voter, by the way. Probably. The thing about Americans is they are actually woke. And it's very funny. Like, one of the reasons why the racists are able to get power is they're like, well, I'm not actually racist. Whereas in Europe, right-wingers are like, yes, we are the master race. The Poles are the master race. The Ukrainian is their master race. Like, they honest to God believe that shit. Everybody in the world could never invent a pierogi. Donald Trump is now saying we're going to invade Iran. Okay, hold on. Let me actually get a video that
The Iranians
works.
are vowing to hit back hard at U.S. military assets here in the greater Middle Eastern region if the United States continues the kind of bombing campaigns that we have seen here in this area over the past couple of nights. Of course, last night, once again, very kinetic, especially in the area around the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. hitting some places there, also hitting some coastal areas, saying it was targeting radar sites as well as air defense sites of the Iranians. The Iranians, for their part, saying that they hit back against U.S. military bases in Jordan, in Kuwait, and in Bahrain as well. On top of that, the Iranians also insist that the Strait of Hormuz is now completely shut to commercial traffic. Any ships trying to transit the Strait of Hormuz would be targeted. Of course, the U.S. denies that. However, the Iranians are insisting that that is the case. Now, I was able to speak to a senior Iranian official who's also an advisor to Iran's supreme leader, And he says that the United States will not achieve any progress on the diplomatic front, keeps up its military campaign.
This has always been the case in this country. Whenever they attack, we respond, more severely and more heavily. So Trump is mistaken to repeatedly and constantly test our military capabilities. He must understand that the Islamic Republic will not back down nor step back from the entirety of his independence and national interests, and we will make the aggressors regret it.
Do you believe there will be a return to war with the United States?
This matter is in their hands. If they respect Iran's interests and act accordingly, the war will end. Otherwise, the war will continue.
All of that, of course, seriously jeopardizing the already very fragile ceasefire that's supposed to be in place between the United States and Iran. One of the things that has happened overnight last night was that a Qatari delegation was on the ground here in Tehran trying to move things closer towards a memorandum of understanding that would end the hostilities between the United States and Iran and pave the way for larger peace negotiations to then hopefully lead to a larger deal. However, with the violence that's been going on, especially in the Strait of Hormuz area, the Iranians are saying they consider that to be a violation of their sovereignty and that essentially renders the ceasefire.
It's like getting even dumber. Jesus Christ, we're so fucked.
U.S. Central Command forces began launching additional self-defense strikes today at 5:15 p.m. ET against multiple targets in Iran at the commander-in-chief's direction. The strikes are in response to Iran's unwarranted and continued aggression. We do not yet know what precisely is being hit, nor the size.
What if, I thought they were going to invade last month? What if I was wrong by a month? What if I was wrong by a month? I thought they were going to invade last month. What if I'm off by 1 month?
And scope
and
of the
then Professor Zhang will be right. Oh, fuck.
operation, but Iranian media is reporting explosions in Qesem, Bandar Abbas, and several other locations along the Persian Gulf. Now, earlier today, the president said, quote, "We hit them hard yesterday and we'll be hitting them hard again today." He also elaborated on his social media post this morning in which he said Iran would have to, quote, "pay the price," end quote, for being slow to reach a peace deal. A deal he has been saying is close at hand for months now.
We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers.
Well, the president today also said this about what he suggested was a secret operation to spur oil through the Strait of Hormuz.
I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now.
The president said the operation has safely escorted 200 commercial vessels through the strait. Now, just for perspective, that's about a day and a half's worth of shipping traffic before the war. And shortly before airtime, Iran's military said the strait will be closed to all vessels effective immediately. What more do you know about the president's decision to order these strikes?
I mean, we're hearing two different things, Anderson, when it comes to why these strikes are being launched, which is today it was the president saying that Iranian leadership was taking too long to come to a deal. Yesterday, they said it was because the Iranians had downed that Army Apache helicopter. And so I think in terms of where they are ultimately trying to get here, we know what the president wants, which is an agreement and a deal to his terms that he has demanded of the Iranians. But so far, they have not been able to get there. And so yesterday, they were saying that the strikes were in self-defense. That is also what CENTCOM was saying tonight when they confirmed shortly after 5 p.m. Eastern that, yes, more strikes were happening. But as the president was saying to our friend Trey Yingst over at Fox, that this is in response to trying to get them to sign a deal, to come to an agreement with them, as he was also saying.
I think penny rounding is probably fine, bro.
The strikes will likely stop soon. And so it remains to be seen if what the president wants to do here, what he wants to have achieved here, is done as a result of these strikes. Because so
is he really just going to be a stenographer without any criticism? Yeah, all mainstream media, they're doing the Eastern European model, the Hungarian model, the Orban model, the Polish model of like getting all the media owned by far right wingers and trying to use that to prop up their narrative. Now, unfortunately for them, it's 2026. It doesn't work. I mean, they bought up TikTok, but if they're too excessively controlling, people will leave. So they have to do, but their positions are extremely unpopular. So they could try to put their finger on the scale, but if they go too far, they're going to get caught, and then people will leave their platforms and so their investments become worthless. So like that's what's going on. So all this mainstream media is going to be owned by right-wing billionaires. And until we have a fucking left-wing president who's willing to overthrow the Supreme Court, the shit's going to continue.
Iran is saying that they will respond, that they'll retaliate. They're also saying the Strait of Hormuz is totally closed to any shipping vessels. That is something that CENTCOM is disputing tonight. And so it's still not clear exactly if this is going to end up in what the president is hoping with these strikes, which is getting Iran to sign a deal with him.
And is there any effort on the part of the White House to try to tamp down any retaliation from Iran after the attacks, any attempt to control escalation? Because both the president and Secretary Hegseth suggested there would not only be strikes tonight, but tomorrow if necessary.
Yeah, and there might be. I mean, if Iran responds within a proportional measure in the view of the White House, I mean, that remains to be seen. But also keep in mind, they've been arguing that they're totally decimated in their capabilities. Obviously, though, Iran is saying that they will respond here. And what stands out also, Anderson, is just how publicly the president is telegraphing this. I mean, he said earlier today that these strikes were going to be happening hours before they actually did and before they commenced around 5 o'clock today. Hegseth also said the same. So they're not really trying to catch the Iranians by surprise. They're publicly putting out there that these strikes are coming as they are trying to get them to a deal and to come to the table on that.
Dana, both President Trump and Secretary Hegseth, they've explicitly said these strikes are intended to push Iran to agree to a peace deal that the president wants them to sign. Is this going to accomplish that?
Probably a couple hours of military strikes aren't going to fundamentally change this situation. Trump's team has staked out pretty maximalist positions in terms of what they want. The Iranians are doing the same thing. The two sides were far apart yesterday. A couple hours of strikes tonight is probably not going to change their calculus much unless Trump is prepared for a sustained military campaign, which it's quite clear he's not. I don't see the Iranians rushing to the table after tonight.
The War Powers Resolution says 60 days unless Congress declares war. The president has to take troops out. The Trump administration has claimed the 60-day window doesn't apply because this operation ended when the ceasefire began. Is that accurate?
That would not make any sense to me. I think that it's a legal fiction to say that the operation or that hostilities have ended because there was a ceasefire. First of all, there was a blockade throughout the entire ceasefire, and we have seen the United States use force against ships and third-party countries throughout that blockade. Second of all, as we've seen,
why would the existence of a blockade during a ceasefire mean that's not a ceasefire?
Because a blockade is an active war. It's only legal to employ one when you are actually at war, and it also authorizes the United States to use lethal force against both enemy ships and ships of third-party countries. So it's a very serious act to set up. And so to say that we're in a ceasefire means that we are truly in a ceasefire and we are not conducting any active wars, including a blockade. But also you have these strikes. We had a downed aircraft yesterday, the downed Apache, and we've had skirmishes here and there over the past, I don't know now, almost a month and a half since the May 1st or the first ceasefire declaration. So this war powers clock in my mind has been running since February 28th, and I think the administration knows it too, and it seems like Congress is finally waking up to it. This whiplash that we're seeing, now we're bombing to get a peace deal, and I'll let the irony of that sink in for a second. This whiplash that we're seeing of what we're bombing, why we're bombing, this is exactly why the War Powers Resolution was enacted, because we should not just be letting one individual drag us into this haphazard war with justifications changing every day. This should be justified through the people, through their elected representatives, through Congress. That is the way the framers envisioned us entering war when they designed the Constitution and put the Declare War Power Clause within Article 1 of the legislator. So the idea that we can keep going on with just a single person committing tens of thousands of U.S. troops without any coherent plan is really contrary to what.
You don't say. Oh, no. Is it against the Oh, you don't say. Is it against the Constitution for us to have wars with no congressional authorization? You don't fucking say.
What the framers envisioned, and it should also be contrary to Congress.
I don't really like this idea at all, but the truth is we're hearing from Platner, others calling this useless war, soldiers being sent to die for Israel. But that's the issue. Iran is not causing significant casualties, which makes the war tolerable by at least 25% of people. 25% of people would zig heil tomorrow. 25% of people wanted to keep Nixon in office the day before he resigned. Who gives a shit? Fuck those 25%.
Dana, I mean, if the strikes are an attempt, at least in part by the president, to show that the U.S. is in a strong position, which is true militarily, is that actually borne out by the fuller set of facts as they relate to the negotiations? Clearly, Iran has been able to slow walk these talks for some time. I mean, this is, the president keeps saying this is on the cusp of happening. It has been months that he's been saying that.
Well, I think there's a few different things going on here. First, yesterday, clearly U.S. forces in the Middle East are at risk. We had a U.S. military helicopter downed by an Iranian drone. So the naval blockade is putting our military forces at risk every single day, and the rest of the region is at risk. The Iranians, despite all of the claims of how much of their missile infrastructure has been set back, the drone infrastructure, the military-industrial complex, clearly they can still get off a lot of ballistic missiles and drones. They sent over 20 of them toward Israel a couple of days ago, attacked U.S. military bases in Jordan, Kuwait, and Bahrain yesterday. So the military reality is that our forces aren't leaving anytime soon. They're quite at risk, as well as U.S. allies and partners across the Middle East.
You know, Maria, probably some people listening to everything you just said might kind of say, well, look, this is war, so what if it doesn't, it's not in a contract, doesn't pertain to the legal niceties of the way something's supposed to be done. Why does that matter?
Because we live in a rules-based order, and we decided this. The United States has actually been a leader in many of the international agreements that we have disregarded under Secretary Hegseth and President Trump's leadership here. So it really does matter. And by the way, there's a human aspect to this too. Like I said earlier, and as Dana just referred to, there are tens of thousands of soldiers deployed overseas. They have been gone. They missed Easter morning. They're missing summer vacations with their families. There is a human element to that, and we cannot forget that. That is why it is so important that this is an informed decision that is made with the consent of the people through their elected representatives when we commit to this level of hostility.
I feel like this process argument is obviously just weak and pathetic and stupid. But it's also, I mean, it is true. Like, this would be this is invading a regional power. This would disrupt the national and world economy. The idea that we could just be engaged in a never-ending low-level or even higher-level conflict and it not be adjudicated by Congress is fucking stupid and bullshit.
Dana, I mean, is what we are seeing partly just a result of going into this without having really a plan long-term? I mean, it seemed very clear the administration...
Sorry to continue, but my point is Iran needs to impose real costs. You understand that they have done that, right? You understand that the Iranians have done that, right? The reason why there aren't more casualties is because the United States is evacuating all its bases and using its most expensive, exquisite standoff weapons and drones. They are literally fighting this war in order to avoid casualties. That's why it costs so much, because they're using our most expensive weapons and no one else other than China and maybe Russia and part of its inventory that's anything close. We're talking about multi-million-dollar long-range cruise missiles. We're talking about stealth bombers. We're talking about ship-launched cruise missiles that cost millions a pop. We're using all of our interceptor rockets, our surface-to-air missile inventory, our theater-level surface-to-air missiles. These cost $9 million each to fire. We're using them all up. We've lost 50 Reaper drones or something like that. Maybe it's 30 to 50 Reaper drones have been shot down by Iran. Like, we are literally fighting this war in the way to maximize cost and minimize casualties. The moment they try to go into Karg, they're going to get fucking ripped apart. We're going to have Marines coming back in body bags by the bushelful. That's why they're doing the blockade. The blockade is really, it's a distant blockade. So the Iranians can't reach out and touch American ships. They couldn't fight the fucking Houthis. They could not fight the Houthis. You think they're going to fight the IRGC? And even if the United States of America successfully invades, this is a point that you really need to understand. Even if the United States of America successfully invades Iran, just like they did Iraq, they're going to have an insurgency that kills hundreds of thousands. And it'll cost trillions. Like, this is, and by the way, you shouldn't think that the United States is not going to be able to invade. They may, you need to not be in a cope mode. They very well might be able to break through and physically control space, but it'll be an absolute bloodbath. It'll be unsustainable. Again, it'll make Iraq look like a picnic. And it would almost certainly require the military expanding, probably through some sort of mandatory conscription, stop loss, falling back recently separated service members. All sorts of shit would have to happen. Like, we're talking about a disastrous situation. We could make a landing, but it's completely infeasible to meet any actual military goals. I mean, we could siege the Iranian people. That's just something you need to understand. Like, they could try to make Iran collapse into, like, starvation. I think you guys you're thinking about them fighting war a certain type of way. They're going to try to fight this war like it's 800 AD.
Maybe urged on by Israel.
Think about the way that Nazi Germany fought World War II. Mass murder of civilians. Destruction of agricultural fields. Destruction of civilian infrastructure. Concentration camps. Like, you guys you're not realizing that we really are in a fascist situation. And not a single Israeli will touch Iranian soil. Of course not. They're getting their asses. They can barely handle Hezbollah. You think they're going to handle the IRGC? There are fiber optic drones dropping on fucking IOF soldiers in the Litani. You think they're going to make it to Iran? No shot.
Israel thought this would be wrapped up pretty quickly, which is inexplicable given that Iran is obviously a complex enemy.
Well, first, saying that Israel dragged the United States into this, I think really lets President Trump off the hook. He's clearly the decider here, and his explanations have varied over the course of this entire thing. In January, it was to protect the Iranian people from the regime. Then it was to change the regime. Then it was to eliminate the nuclear program. Then it was to eliminate the ballistic missile program. And those objectives have changed over time. So I think the big problem here is that there never was a strategy. There's just a series of tactics, just a series of operations. And to Margaret's point, the problem now...
I think that's the best way to understand it. There wasn't actually a strategy. There wasn't actually a plan. It is the United States of America and our military. We can bomb something. We can identify somewhere and go in and blow it up. There's no other country in the world that could do it at the level that we can. We have that ability. But as far as like fighting a war, or is it just about the ability to blow shit up? It is a geopolitical struggle. War is just politics by other means. And the inverse is true. Politics is just war by other means. So if they're not able to do the political side, they could just do the blowing things up like a Hollywood movie. It's like the difference between a stuntman and a script. I could have the best stuntman on the fucking planet, but my movie's not going to make any fucking sense. And that's what they don't understand, because they're stupid pieces of shit. Pete Hegseth doesn't wash his fucking hands. The Secretary of War doesn't wash his hands. Shut the fuck up with your dumb fucking...
As I told you, my 2019 resolution is to say things on air that I say off air. I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years.
This is our Secretary of War. You think he's making intelligent, informed decisions? You don't wash your hands after you take a shit? You don't wash your hands after, I don't know, like eating a meal? Or before you eat a meal? You walk around New York City and you're opening doors and going into the subway and opening car handles and you never wash your hands? This is our Secretary of War. But the thing is, one of the biggest mistakes you could make... God, what a fucking dope. I'm sorry I couldn't make it through that episode, chat. Like, he's so dumb and boring. The biggest mistake you could make is think that the American might is Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. These institutions and these structures are still, even after they've been damaged, highly meritocratic. There's a lot of really intelligent, talented people in the United States military and counterintelligence and FBI and CIA. A lot of them are eviler. They're pure malevolence. Don't allow for yourself to get relax because Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are idiots. That's the thing that freaks me. That's the thing that bothers me about, the people that talk about this shit and they don't know what the fuck they're saying. What worries me about the left is they think we're even capable of fighting back against these with the way we're currently constituted. Like, we're hanging on by a fingernail because of norms. Because if Donald Trump went into these offices and said, go kill Mike from PA to the FBI agents, they probably wouldn't do it. But under the right conditions, that could easily change. And I'm not trying to be paranoid. I'm just telling you, like, in the past, they used to go and do that shit. And they got away with it. Now, I'm certainly down the list of the people that they would try to kill, but you get my point. We need like 3x our entire active duty forces to invade? No. But it would certainly involve us reducing our commitment to other theaters. The United States military is designed to fight 2 wars and a 3rd regional peacekeeping operation at the same time.
Now is we're just talking about a few hours of military strikes. What the American people deserve, and frankly, what our military forces deserve, is a strategy, an actual.
Mike, are there intelligent people in the high up in the military that could be reoriented in a left-wing direction? There are, of course, left-leaning people in the military, even in the senior ranks. But overwhelmingly, the type of personality and the culture of the military is going to lean, especially at the at the officer level, is going to lean right. There are like what I would call professionals, right? The culture of political non-interference, where they will just carry out whatever orders they're given, as long as they're, quote, lawful. Now, the officer class certainly has a political interest in promoting the Republican Party because that means more money or weapons. So the answer to that is there are some people that are be sympathetic. The majority would not be.
Articulated, achievable end state of what we're going to do here. And if the idea is a negotiated outcome, getting to some agreement where the Strait of Hormuz can be opened, the people of the region aren't at risk, and our U.S. military isn't stuck in what right now is creeping toward an endless forever war of continuous military commitments, then we actually need to have a strategy that's more than just military strikes.
Oh, what happened to the Pentagon?
We're back with the breaking news unfolding right now at the Pentagon with fire units on site responding to a hazardous materials incident. Let's go right to longtime Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr, who joins us by phone. Barbara, you know so deeply what emergency protocols are there.
As former military, as ex-military, I have bad news. Unfortunately, it's pretty full of morons, but I also met people who were radicalized and turned left after the service ended or during a bad tour. But generally, it's Chud Factory. I mean, obviously.
What would you expect is happening right now?
Well, I think what is most likely happening is they are identifying the sectors of the building that they believe have been impacted by this. And there's something in the Pentagon that's referred to as the big voice. This is a microphone and broadcast system that operates throughout the building. And the person in charge is able to come on that microphone and announce what parts of the building must be sheltered in place and which parts are to be evacuated. So this is a very quick way to inform the building is huge. So this is a quick way to inform everyone inside across the building, across all 5 floors, what area they are in and what they need to do. These are some of the protocols on it that were put in place after 9/11. I worked in the building both before and after, and it was a remarkable change, the amount of security measures that they put in for just these types of contingency situations. They have alarms, they have voice protocols to announce what needs to be done. In the event of fires or other hazards, they have heavy barriers that will automatically close off parts of the building. And as you would expect, they conduct these kinds of drills with employees all the time so people know if they have to evacuate what their evacuation route is to get outside safely. Because again, the building is so large, many people, perhaps even most people, work a fair distance from being able to get outside. I think it's also likely they are working with federal, state, and local officials who they have agreements with in the event of just these types of emergencies to bring people to the site, to bring equipment to the site, to begin to conduct air sampling even around the outside if that's what's needed. And the reason I say that is, again, if you
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have an update. Graham Platner is the first ever primary candidate in Maine history to get 150,000 votes. He's broken 72%. He's now outperformed Sarah Gideon by almost 50,000 votes and outperformed her percentage-wise as well. So not only did Graham Platner not, like, The people that are talking about Graham Platner like dropping out or whatever, like I gotta tell, or that he's a bad candidate, I have to tell you something. They're insane. Like, it's actually like, if you are in a bubble where people think Graham Platner is bad, your mind is like rotten. You're in some sort of like social club or book club or something. Your mind is like scrambled. You're in some sort of algorithmic bubble. You're crazy. And it's one of those things where, you know, I'm one of those people who just tells you guys the reality of what's going on. He's really popular. When regular people learn about Graham Platner, they really like him. So if you don't like him, you're weird. With 89% reported, Platner's projected vote total will massively exceed Sarah Gideon's 2020 performance by 43,000 votes, a 37% lift. Meanwhile, Mills is only outperforming 2020 second place performance by 5K votes, about a 13% lift. What a fucking loser, dude. Holy shit. People are saying stuff like, Democrats are going to be able to win without Maine. A Senate majority is possible without Platner. No, it isn't. No, it fucking isn't. The reason why they're saying this shit is because they're trying to help Trump. Like the blue sky candidate LaFlame, they were sure was a viable alternative. Platner got less votes than you have viewers. Yes, I know. I'm not fucking stupid. And like, one of the things that I actually really like is the fact that I get to speak the truth. And the Platner litmus test. That's a good, I have the ability to kind of figure out if someone's a dumbass based on their opinion on Graham Platner. If they're like an anti-Platner dead ender, they're a dumbass. No time to fuck about with the Senate majority. Honestly, guys, even Hutch gets it. Hutch no longer owes me $1,500, chat. He owes me $1,450. In a spirit of unity, I will count Hutch's knee-bending contribution to Graham Platner as a credit to the $1,500 debt that he owes me. Your debt is now $1,450. Keep it up. I will give you double credit for donations to Claire Valdez or Oliver Larkin. Are you including interest? Oh shit, I should be including interest. Fuck, you're right, but I haven't been. I should be though. Sarah Gideon also won with 72% in 2022, but 50K fewer votes than Platner at 72. That shows that people of base are energized behind Platner, unlike any Dem candidate before. Will cancel out any possible Collins underestimated polling. Establishment Dems are in shambles. Oh yeah, and a lot of people that voted for Mills are gonna vote for Platner. I don't know if you guys saw, but DropSite was interviewing voters. They were interviewing voters, and this is what a Mills voter looked like.
Senate. That was Platner and Mills.
Oh, okay. Mills.
So you ranked Mills first? Okay. And then for governor, do you...
So what happened is Maine has ranked choice voting, so he ranked Mills 1, but he ranked Platner 2. He voted for Platner. But because Platner got more than 50% of the vote, you don't need to show the second place votes. They don't eliminate anybody. So he voted for Platner 2. But again, this is the type of person that's voting for Janet Mills.
You remember? That was Nirav Shah. You had Troy Jackson. You had Hannah Pingree, Shanna Bellows.
So a lot of the people that voted again, like for Mills, they weren't anti. The only people that you can definitively say were anti-Platner voters were the LaFlame write-ins. The LaFlame write-ins, those are your anti-Platner people, your Cavernacle fans, your Bad Empanada fans, your centrist, centrist Twitter posters. I need you to understand just how there is absolutely no motion for anti-Platnerism among actual human people. They tried to carry LaFlame. And a lot of those people are going to end up voting for Platner anyway. We're going to talk, Graham Platner scandals, they're going to become boring. It becomes kind of like, okay, you said tattoo. He got it covered up a year ago at a certain point. Like, what? You're just going to say tattoo, and he was in the military. Tattoo, he was in the military. And meanwhile, Susan Collins is like, I'm banning abortion. I'm making sure black people can't vote in the South. If I were a content creator who cared deeply about, political power, especially political power of black voters in the South, which I do, I might say, hey, Graham Platner saying he wants to reform the Supreme Court is a way to restore the Voting Rights Act. It's a way to stop partisan gerrymandering. It's a way of, ending Citizens United. Might be more important than a Reddit post from 2013. Also, most people are told Nazi twat 2. They think it's a swastika. When they go and see that, that's it. Is it bad? They literally did a study group of old people in Maine, and 1 of 15 know what it was. Of course nobody knows what it is. People don't even know how many fucking members of Congress there are. You think they know the fucking unit emblems of Nazi unit? Like, what the fuck are you saying? People don't know this type of shit. Listen, I was in school with you people. I know you don't know anything. How the fuck do you think I got A's at all my classes? Because you people can't remember shit. If I said, who's Himmler, I'd be surprised if a majority of people knew. You get what I'm saying? It's like, nobody knows who these fucking people are. You should know white supremacist logos. I do. That's why when I saw it, I was pissed. But then I got a clue and I was like, you know what? I thought that it was going to be a sign of other Nazi shit was going to come out. And then we went through all of his posts with a fine-tooth comb and I was like, oh wait, this guy's based. There's nothing Nazi about this guy. He's just an idiot. The Nazis had cool insignias and I am not a Nazi. I don't think I agree with you on that. I'm not an enjoyer of the Nazi. The Nazi aesthetic to me looks lame as fuck. It gives off small dick energy. Whereas the Soviets gave off big dick energy. Like here, let me show you. Here's the parade. Here's the victory parade.
Под тревожную дробь 80 барабанов к мавзолею приближается колонна советских воинов.
These are all the captured unit colors of the Nazis.
900 плененных вражеских стягов было доставлено из Германии.
Horizontal, capitulated, marched into Moscow.
В унисон сухим барабанным боем, твердо печатая шаг, фронтовики несут опущенные до земли боевые знамена побежденных фашистских дивизий. Сейчас это единственное, что напоминает о былых полках и дивизиях Гитлера. Бойцы силой швыряют к подножию мавзолея поверженные честь и гордость Третьего Рейха.
Now the banners are hurled in front of Lenin's mausoleum to signify the destruction of fascism. Every German unit and division that was destroyed by the Red Army. All their flags were taken and thrown into a pile, a heap. The ceremony of carrying the banners of the enemy into the square and throwing them dishonorably at the feet of the victors. Sorry about the drums being so loud, chat. A mountain of disgraced fascist relics. And we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. All right, where were we? Oh, yeah. Apparently, U.S. bases have been struck.
For the second straight night, the U.S. and Iran have traded new strikes. And President Trump is warning that if Iran does not agree to a deal by today, the U.S. will, quote, bomb the expletive out of them. U.S. Central Command now says it completed the second wave of strikes on Iran, hitting surveillance capabilities, communication systems, and air defense sites. Iran calls that a blatant violation of the ceasefire and hit back, targeting U.S. bases in the region. U.S. allies like Bahrain and Kuwait activated their air defenses. Jordan says it intercepted 20 missiles launched by Iran. Iran is also claiming this morning the Strait of Hormuz is now closed to all vessels, quote, until further notice. CENTCOM is disputing that, saying that commercial ships are still moving through, though we know that the strait has been largely paralyzed. Despite all of this, a diplomatic source tells CNN that talks between Washington and Tehran are still on track. Here's what the president said about it in the Oval Office.
We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers.
We have a team in Tehran covering this. Let's start with CNN's Elena Treen live this morning at the White House for us. Where do things stand right now, Elena?
Look, Kate, I think it's clear that we have entered a new phase of this war, and the president really shifting strategy this week and resuming its bombing campaign on Tehran. Now, if you listen to what the president said yesterday, as well as the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, both of them almost arguing that this is a way to negotiate and that the U.S. will negotiate through bombs if that means that the pressure will force them to finally relent and agree to a deal. I want you to listen to what Hegseth said about all of this.
You can see when someone's trying to tap, tap, tap on a deal. Instead, they're going to have tap, tap, tap bombs dropping on key facilities in Iran from the United States of America. If we need to negotiate with bombs, we'll negotiate with bombs. And we're very good at it.
Oh.
This is quite different, Kate, from what we had been hearing, I'd remind you, from top Trump officials and the president himself for weeks now throughout this ceasefire, continuing pressing pause to try and allow these diplomatic talks to breathe. Now they are essentially trying to use these bombs as leverage. Now, if you listen to what the president said yesterday, I'd remind you that earlier in the day, he had posted that Iran had, quote, taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will pay the price. He had previewed in the Oval Office that they were going to be issuing more strikes on Tehran. I think this is notable. We saw him do it the day before as well. This idea that he is warning Iran that strikes are coming. I think that continues to add to this idea that he is trying to pressure them and force them to the table. Now, what was also interesting is the president kind of echoed this sentiment when he spoke with Fox News yesterday. Fox News reporter said that he actually called him from the Situation Room, just remarkable in and of itself. But then he went on to say that the Iranians had called him and asked him to stop the bombing, but that they would continue unless Iran agreed to a deal. So this is where we are right now. I will say, from the conversations I've had, they still want a deal. The ultimate goal here is still diplomacy, but the president has clearly gotten impatient and is now trying to use these strikes as a way to force this deal sooner rather than later, Kate.
Yeah, and count this as another day of stretching the bounds and definition of a ceasefire over there right now. Elena, thanks so much. Let's see what happens, because it sure seems like a lot is happening as we speak.
Yeah, and we're getting a look at actually what this is looking like on the ground in Iran as those negotiations, not negotiations, continue. That dynamic moves forward. We want to go straight to Tehran, where CNN's Fred Pleitgen is standing by live. We should note CNN operates in Iran only with the permission of the government, but does maintain full editorial control of its reports. Fred, what is the latest there on the ground?
Hi there, Omar. Well, first of all, the Iranians are completely denying that they called President Trump last night and demanded an end to these strikes. Several Iranian news agencies and official channels also saying that simply is not true. And then as far as negotiating through bombing is concerned, that's also something where Iranian officials are saying that bombing is going to achieve exactly the opposite of what the president wants it to achieve. I actually spoke to a senior Iranian official just a couple of hours ago, and he told me that from the Iranian perspective, they believe that the Trump administration needs to respect the resilience of the Iranians, also needs to respect the military capability of the Iranians as well, specifically looking at the Strait of Hormuz. And I asked that official whether or not there was a chance that the two countries would go back to war. And he said it all depends on the Trump administration right now. If they want to make a deal, if they stop firing, then there can be a deal. However, if they continue to bomb Iran, then a full-on war and a return to full-on war is certainly something that is fairly possible. So right now, certainly these negotiations still in a very difficult state. On their perspective, have said that this was a serious breach of the ceasefire, what happened last night and the night before. At the same time, both sides are still saying that they want to move towards that memorandum of understanding, which we have to say is just the next step in these negotiations. That would end the hostilities between the two countries and then lead to a period of larger negotiations for a possible full peace agreement. But again, right now, especially after what happened last night, it seems a little bit more difficult, but certainly from what was also going on here overnight, we certainly had a busy night here in Tehran. It certainly seems as that diplomatic process is still on. One of the things that happened was that during these overnight hours, even as the bombing was going on, Omar, there was a team of Qatari negotiators here on the ground in Tehran trying to move that process forward. Those negotiators have now left.
going to wait and see whether or not much progress was made on that. Certainly, again, the Iranians are saying they're up for a deal. But at the same time, if the U.S. keeps pressuring and especially dropping bombs, it will have exactly the opposite effect, Omar.
Fred Pleiken on the ground for us in Tehran. Thank you for the reporting.
Joining me now, former Defense Intelligence official Major Harrison Mann. It's good to have you with us this morning. So we heard from Secretary Hegseth there saying, we will continue to negotiate with bombs. Is that actually the way to get Iran to the table? It does not seem to be working in this moment.
Hi, Erica. We know for certain from recent history that it is not the way to get Iran to negotiate. They tried bombing Iran for 40 days. It didn't work. Then they tried the blockade for another 2 months. That hasn't worked, and they're out of ideas, so I guess they're trying to bomb a second time. It's unfortunate because I think there is still a possibility for peace when the Trump administration gets serious about actually negotiating, which is going to require making some concessions. But for now, they're clearly not willing to do that, and so they're going to start bombing again. The other really worrying escalation we saw yesterday was an apparent war crime, a U.S. targeted precision strike on a water reservoir for drinking water in Iran near Hormuz. And that's something Trump has threatened several times over the past 8 weeks, when he got frustrated with the ceasefire. And I'm hoping we don't see more war crimes, targeting of civilian infrastructure as a deliberate strategy to try and bring Iran to the table.
Certainly there are a lot of questions about that.
Apparently Donald Trump has just said he's canceling strikes, and that's making the stock market go up. I think one of the things that's hilariously stupid about this, after President Donald Trump said he called off the strikes in Iran scheduled for this evening, I don't think I've ever lived in an era like this. Where we're in just like unbelievable, what's the best way to describe it? Unbelievable speculative high. Where as things get worse and worse and worse, and the economic reality, inflation is at a 3-year high. Donald Trump said he loved inflation. I love the inflation, he said.
I will. No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the, you know why? I can barrels Iran. I took out the 20 late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted. Took out. That's why oil's $85 a barrel. And you take a look. Remember when I did one bad thing? We hit the best economy we've ever hit.
By the way, even if that were to be true, there's 150 ships a day, I think, used to transit the Strait. So that would be like going from 10% of normal to 20% of normal.
It all started. The highest 401k. Everything two bombs totally buried it. Very hard to. But now we had it. The bad part is the stock market. A lot was worth it not to have a nuke. And the other thing is that oil would go to 200. It's at 80. And
if oil went to $250 a barrel, it would be like 18 a gallon or something. So like, we're now living in a world where the Middle East is not exporting much oil, and AI is not really delivering anything. Like, what is AI delivering that's making your standard of living go up? I'm like literally asking, how would you know? Like, if you were driving around a city, would you know that there's AI happening? Like, what's the evidence? If I drive around LA right now, that there's some sort of new AI-led prosperity, what would be the evidence of that? Like, I'm literally at if I drive around the country, what's the AI prosperity that we're seeing now? At best, it's a shitty search engine. Yes, exactly. I mean, maybe it's really good if you get the super high-end AI shit. Maybe if I paid for that. Waymo driving through construction zones. I don't feel rich because Waymos exist. I don't know about you.
74, a short time here, 70 all-time historical. The Dow, the S&P was at 7. We'll never hit it. I hit on the Dow, thousands at 5-6 years out. You hit it, and now and they all agreed with it. Everybody agreed, and we took a little journey down to. First stopped off at Venezuela about war. We have great relations. So one day it was really to be exact, 48 relations become and we're taking out millions of barrels, and essentially we've done this. 150 is no Air Force. All of that, most of all of their leaders, all of that leader, and
the U.S. military pounded targets in southern. Okay, hold on. Brand new. What is playing? Okay, sorry. What the fuck is even playing? In a social media post, President Donald Trump said he had canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran that he had threatened for later this evening. The president said he had canceled the attacks because of progress on a peace deal. The highest level of Iranian leadership had approved a potential deal, and that the time and place of the signing is to be announced shortly. Trump has repeatedly claimed over the last several months that a peace deal was imminent, often threatening escalating strikes against Iran soon after. Many officials in turn have often denied Trump's claim that they have agreed to terms of a potential peace deal. So basically what happens is like the Trump admin people, they buy stonks, and then they say, oh, we're about to have a peace deal. And then they get a big pop. And then the next day they're like, actually there is no peace deal, and it crashes again. How many times can this happen? This has happened like 8 times at this point. Every fucking week. And then there's the SpaceX IPO. One of the most worthless companies to ever exist. And it's going to be the 15th largest company in the world against actual companies that produce, like, every single person in your fucking life has a smartphone in their pocket. And those companies are going to be worth less than SpaceX because of Grok. Like, what the fuck are you saying? I mean, I cashed out my NASDAQ directly as a result of the rules changing. I'm not telling you to do anything. I don't know what the fuck. The next president should vow to cut all contracts with space companies and reinvest. Just nationalize them all. Say national security. Rocket technology is national security. Nationalize it all. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And who's going to argue against that? It's rocket technology. It's directly related to intercontinental ballistic missiles. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And you value the assets at book value. That's like the ultimate crime in this country, though. It isn't, though. It's in our fucking laws. You can do that. The thing is, it's only a crime when capitalism, the capital, isn't under threat, right? But the moment their money is under threat, you can do anything you want. SpaceX is a fucking joke. They can't even get out of low Earth orbit. Like, it's an absolute fucking joke. You want to know what a real space fucking program is? Look at what the Chinese are doing with the Long March rockets. And they look exactly like my Kerbal Space Program designs. That's how I know they work. Speaking of Kerbal Space Program, oh man, I should play that. I really should do like a Kerbal run on like an alt account. Did you see their IPO? It read like a 15-year-old wrote it. Oh, it's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. Did you see Satan Yahoo threatening Turkey? The anti-Semitic dictator Erdogan, who is committing genocide against the Kurds, supports the Hamas terrorist organization, oppresses his own people, and imprisons political rivals, is the last person who can lecture the state of Israel on morality. The state of Israel, the IDF, the most moral army in the world, will continue to take forceful action against Iran and its proxies, which threaten the Middle East and the entire world. Are you guys like surprised? Like, you have to understand, fascism is a death cult. Fascism is the death drive. When you take right-wing thought to its logical conclusion, it results in nihilistic cynicism. And you just start fighting. You're trying to die a heroic death. That's what it is about. That's what it's really about, is being a fucking statue. That's what they want. So they'll continue to do more and more and more attacks until they're defeated. People will often ask me, like, why did Nazi Germany invade the Soviet Union? So that they would lose. That was the point. They wanted to die. And I, personally, I'm like, we should help them along. Like, they have that goal and they're attacking people illegally. It's when humanity actually rises up and defeats fascism. This is the test. Humanity is on the precipice. Will we survive and go to the stars with socialism, or will we exterminate ourselves with fascism? Like, that is the only question. Now Donald Trump is up there saying, I love inflation.
I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now, something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? I think they're going to want to make a deal, but we're going to find out.
Inflation to come down between now.
Oh, when the war is over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock.
Trump may love inflation, as he said, but some Republican senators are concerned about the fallout.
I hope today's numbers will be a wake-up call, because those prices are too high. We need some relief, and Congress can deliver some relief. And if Congress doesn't deliver the relief, I think voters are not going to be pleased.
Well, everybody's having some problems. We do have to get it under control.
I think people are really feeling it. I mean, it's not just gas prices, food prices, and other things. And I think there's a level of frustration.
I don't think people have a great deal of confidence in any of us right now.
Lots to talk about here. Joining me now is co-founder of Punchbowl News, John Bresnahan, and Axios senior contributor, Margaret Talev. Good to see you both. Margaret, I want to start with you. Look, the White House is explaining the president's "I love the inflation" comment. You know, if you listen, he was sort of trailing off. It seemed like he was going to say it will come down at some point, but he never really got there. But at the same time, we are hearing Republican senators openly warn that voters are against it and are obviously against inflation. Where does the GOP go with this? How do they reconcile sort of those two dynamics?
Yeah, this is like the tail that's going to wag the dog all the way until November, Omar. And, you know, the old saying, it's the economy stupid. So it's inflation stupid right now. And the challenge, I think, for the president, for Republicans, and for any incumbent is that inflation has these kind of ripple effects, right? So it's not just inflation, but were you waiting for interest rates to come down so you could buy a house? That's not going to happen this year. If you want to invest in government debt, now is a great time to do that and get very high yield. But, you know, the stock markets are all over the map. The price of everything is impacted by all this. So it's really a systemic problem that has waves to it. And when you look at the polling now, you're seeing like about a third of Americans say this is
SpaceX to the moon until Anthropic to the moon, and then the plan is T-bills to the moon, I think. Schumer endorsed Haley Stevens in Michigan. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer publicly endorses Rep. Haley Stevens for the first time. I think she has the best chance to win. Damn. Misspelling damn. He stunk her campaign, basically assured the ugly Dearborn, Michigan guy is going to win now. Is he trying to say he's Arab? 2 username changes. I wonder what his names were. Unapologetic, narcissist, self-aware. I mean, do I even need to say anything? He looks like he's wearing a Groucho Marx disguise. Am I wrong? He just doesn't have the stash. The nose, man. The nose looks like one. Am I crazy? It looks exactly like it. That's crazy. Give that guy a stash and it's literally Groucho. What was that? Ugliness judger, by the way. Yeah. Fuck me, dude. Sorry. Kyle's not allowed to watch the next game. Like, he stopped watching it, the Knicks won. So he's bad luck. You're not allowed to watch. I'm sorry, that's how it works. It's how it worked in my household. That's the way it works. If you give up on your team, you can't come back because they won. You can't fair weather fan. You gave up on the team, you don't get to watch. You don't get to buy a championship hat. You stand in the corner and you look at the fucking corner for your lack of faith and loyalty, and you are punished. I talked about this earlier, but I saw it again and I got mad. The United States of America cannot live with the shackles of birthright citizenship. It is not economically or otherwise sustainable, and no other country in the world of consequence does it. They're coming for the Reconstruction Amendments, man. Donald Trump wants to go back to the status quo of 1861. And by the way, if you want to know how naturalization worked in America, you ready? Move to America. Live here for 2 years. You are now a citizen. That's how it used to work. His content is mostly characterized by his monotonous voice, white shirt, deadpan comedic style, and long hair, which has earned him the nickname of Internet Jesus. He's a rich kid? Why would that surprise me? It doesn't.
Is their top concern. And the trend lines are the problem, because you're seeing a majority of Americans now saying they think this problem is getting worse, not better. So for the president to convince voters of what it seemed like he was trying to do yesterday, like this is a short-term problem, it's going to come down fast. Americans don't believe that right now. So for them to believe that...
Oh my God, Hassan was on Majority Report and he made Emma cry. I wasn't going to watch it live because it's their shit. I'm not going to steal their shit, right? Like, obviously, like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna jack it while it's live. But he made her cry?
A piece of that greatness that I brought for you.
Are you for real?
From the actual finals. Is it upside down?
I like legit might cry.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What? No, that's totally normal. What? Happy crying is great. What the fuck? That's what sport is for. That's the one thing that I think the anti-sports likers don't understand, is that look at the camaraderie of the entire city of New York. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, black or white, everybody's a Knicks fan. And when the Knicks are winning, everybody can get out and together and we can all just cheer about the town that we love. It's almost like, it's like a ritual. of solidarity and friendship and community. That's why it matters. It's not just like some rich guys playing a sport that we can't play at the level. You know what I mean? It's also about the community. That's why they have a town on their chest instead of just a logo, you know? And it's nice to just like be like another way of understanding it is it enlarges your empathetic circle, right? When everybody's in the stadium and we all got the Knicks jersey on and we're all cheering or whatever, and everybody is like, you could hug a stranger and it's not weird. That is what makes it. That's why she's crying.
Crazy. It's so funny to say might cry as you're crying.
I mean, it hasn't come out yet, but you know, like I burst into tears last night. Like I just couldn't believe what it means to the city. And my husband is like, was calling into WFAN as a 12 and 13-year-old boy, like debating about the Knicks. I mean, it's in his heart. And so like what this means to me, I have this t-shirt, maybe I'll pull it out. I don't want to be superstitious, but it says honorary ball kid on it because when I was 11 or so, I got pulled onto the floor for like a game out of the audience. And so like, I mean, I've been, you know, a Knicks fan my whole life.
Crazy.
So it's amazing. And people don't know this, but you are from New Jersey. So we're from the same neck of the woods.
What an incredible gift, by the way. I'm sure those towels are going to be like rare collectibles, man. Like that thing's crazy. Hopefully he was able, hopefully he has one that he kept for himself because like, holy shit. Game 4? He was there for game 4? I was going to say Hassan's not even a sports fan, but he does love basketball. So I'll give him that. You know, I'm not mad about it. Trump, the agreement is accepted by everyone. At a certain point, it's like, what are we doing? We're pretending like this guy, we're pretending like he's actually telling the truth. Like we're pretending like it's real. We're pretending like it's real. It's like one of those things where I need to just embrace the everybody's 12 reality. Everybody is fucking 12. The fact that I have any kind of opinions that require thought that for a person older than 12, 6th grade, is actually a hindrance. You need to have utter contempt for your fellow man because Jesus Christ, this is embarrassing. I mean, how many times are we going to go through this? We just made a deal. Look at these. Look at the oil market over the last 3 months. Oh, we made a deal. Oh, it turns out that's not true. Oh my God, we're about to have a war. We made a deal. We were about to sign the deal. Oh, it turns out that isn't true. We're about to go to war. Oh, we made a deal. Oh, we're about to sign the deal any minute now. Oh, that wasn't true. We made a deal. Oh, it doesn't look like it's actually true. We made a deal. I mean, it's just, what can you even say? And you can see this kind of like whipsaw, like, oh, it starts rising, and then, oh yeah, we're gonna have a ceasefire any day now. Then it rises. Oh, we're having a ceasefire any day. Okay. Oh, it doesn't look like we're having a ceasefire. Oh wait, we are having a ceasefire. Oh, it looks like that was not true. Oh, it's rising again. So I made that 2 months ago. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say anymore. I just realized something, chat. We're in, it's 3 hours, 4 hours, and 7 minutes into the stream, and I forgot to shill. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 sub. You have Amazon Prime. You can attach that to your Twitch account. You get 1 free sub a month. That's your Twitch Prime sub. The only way I get to support the stream is by your subscriptions because I don't run any ads and I have no sponsors. Feels bad, man. You're not allowed to have political views from the left and then get any amount of money because it doesn't matter that I have one of the largest audiences on Twitch. They're scared. I'm not brand safe. MoistCr1TiKaL, brand safe. Mike, my hyperactive brain isn't going to derail, but I have to ask, what are your thoughts about the announcement of FF7 Revelation? I'm going to say something that's going to get a lot of boos. But you asked, and I am a truth teller. I never really got into Final Fantasy. You know what I heard that might be interesting? I heard they're remaking Ocarina of Time. I might play that. That might be fun. That's what I heard. Am I a Kingdom Hearts guy? Do I look like Carter to you? I don't know why I said Carter, but he just strikes me as a Kingdom Hearts guy. Is he a Kingdom Hearts guy? I don't know why, but that just popped into my head. Is he a Kingdom Hearts guy or did I just completely make that up? He seems like a Kingdom Hearts guy to me. Am I crazy? My hot take is Majora's Mask is way better than Ocarina of Time. Oh, wow. I can't believe the game that came out after the other game and which relied almost completely on its assets and gameplay and control scheme is I can't believe the sequel that, you know, was entirely built on the previous game and all the technology that came from it is slightly better than the other. Wow. Let's just say Majora's Mask is nothing more than a DLC for Ocarina of Time. It's the same fucking shit. Ocarina of Time is Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is just building completely off of Ocarina. It doesn't exist without Ocarina of Time. It's not its own thing. It's fucking nothing. Like, give me a fucking break. I love it. It's a good game, but it's just Ocarina of Time too. The same shit. You shut your commie mouth. Majora's Mask is GOAT, bro. This is like when people are like, you know, guys, I really don't like the Beatles. They seem really outdated. Or man, Shakespeare kind of sucks. Am I right? It's like, bro, all the shit that you shovel into your gullet is built off of that, is influenced by that, is sampling that, is structurally referencing that. There's a bunch of vocabulary you use that literally was invented by Shakespeare for his fucking plays. It's like somebody saying, I don't like glucose or something. It's like, that is the simple sugar that all other sustenance is built off. Like, what are you even saying? Like, shut the fuck up. Everything is contextually built from within that framework, and that, you know, it is what it is, man. Like, come on. Gen X take. No, this is just called being an informed and educated human being take. It's called I mean, it's very funny because, like, half the fucking movies that come out are literally just modern reimaginings of some Shakespearean play with some sort of like spin on it. You're like, you cannot disagree with what I just said and be intelligent. I'm sorry, but it just shows me that you're a Philistine. Like, you literally don't know anything. And that's an embarrassing position to have. Honestly, I feel like we rely on the canon too much, if I'm being honest. I feel like it's like too, maybe you shouldn't read it just because you'll know how everything's gonna go. Maybe being an ignorant asshole actually makes stuff more entertaining. I don't know. The best movies have nothing to do with Shakespeare. Movies themselves are a technological derivation and continuation of theater. You notice how, like, a movie, you sit in a certain type of like auditorium, and it projects onto a screen, which is like where the stage would be. Like theatrical, they call it theatrical release because it is a continuation of the foundation that was live theater. Movies are a technological derivation of that. That is like, theater itself is the basis from which movies emerge and film emerge. Like, oh my Lord in heaven, someone save me. A ton of movies are based off Greek plays that won the, well, I mean, yes, of course. You should also know the Greek canon as well. Of course. That's called being educated. Pub like a Tom, thank you for the 20 bomb. I forgot to keep the show going because I got frustrated by Philistinic takes, slop takes. Listen, we're populist here. We're not Philistines. We're not dipshits. Okay? We are allowed to respect the classics and understand that, you know, we all are, like, I think of disrespecting the classics as it's right wing. It's actually fundamentally right wing because right wing people are ignorant of the interconnectedness of human beings. That all of us are drawing off of multiple traditions, and we are patterning, and we are forming these traditions, and we are repurposing them and reimagining them, and we are refreshing them. And like so many cultures are baked into our own. We're not just like a nation that's siloed off here. We're part of the continuous tapestry of humanity. Not Trump. He loves Andrew Lloyd Webber. Oh no. Don't try to distract me with like side points, motherfucker. About commercialization of art. Don't even get me distracted. Just say you're allowed to, like, I think you should. First of all, if you don't like Shakespeare, then motherfucker, you haven't seen it acted. Dude, I could just pull up an actor delivering shit. How can you not like this shit? Even now, it gets to, like, even now, man.
Friends.
This is Julius Caesar, Act 3, Season 2. Or Season 2. Scene 2. Jesus Christ. This is Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 2. Which is after Julius Caesar was assassinated, spoiler alert, the factions of Rome agreed that they should give him a funeral. And the populists, populares as they were called, that was Caesar's faction. You had the patrons and you had the populares. Caesar was a class traitor. He was constantly tried to reform Rome to be more in favor of working class Romans. And he was killed by oligarchs. All right. And Mark Antony was his closest ally. So this is Mark Antony giving a speech right after one of the murderers, Brutus, had given a speech about how the murder in the Senate of Julius Caesar was lawful because he was a tyrant. And it's always lawful to kill tyrants. And then Mark Antony comes out and gives a speech to the crowd. The funeral, very important. Okay, scene.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honourable man, so are they all honourable men, come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal, I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure he is an honourable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me.
I'm too indigenous for this foofy shit. Bro. Something written 550 years ago is still fucking fire. Or an event that happened over 2,000 years ago. You know, like, come on. Don't you feel the connection through 1,000 generations, you know, goes back, that they were living the same shit we were. They were fighting many very similar fights even. Just sad, man. Honestly, I feel for you not being able to be connected. Ironically, this is indigenous European art. True. It is. It's really good, man. I wish we had longer I wish we had more. I wish we had more. Computer guy on TikTok is our modern day Shakespeare. There's some Shakespearean people. It's very funny because whenever you talk about Caesar, what is everyone's opinion of Caesar? Was he a bad man? Was Caesar a bad man? I agree with Michael Parenti, by the way.
To be or not to be.
Yeah, why is the audio so bad?
That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles.
Oh, what is the Parenti take on Caesar? That he was basically a modern day, he was like, oh, sorry, not modern. He was basically, what am I saying? He was an ancient version of class struggle. And his assassination was a reactionary effort to maintain the class structure. That he was like a revolutionary figure, which is why they murdered his ass. And libs are like, no, it's actually good that a bunch of cowards stabbed him in the back. Look at the land reforms of the Gracchi brothers. It was class struggle. I mean, there's a one of my favorite leaders. Oh, let me see if I can find him up. Publius. This isn't the right Publius. There's too many Publiuses. This is the wrong one. There he is. This is Clodius. Clodius is the one I'm thinking of. Thank you. There we are. Yeah. He's like the original. He was a tribune of the plebs. So in the Roman Republic, they had a job called the tribune of the plebs, because you had like a aristocratic class of nobility, and then you had like regular Roman citizens that were also known as plebs, or the plebeians. And they had a job called the tribune of the plebs, which would be someone who could veto the Senate. The tribune of the pleb could veto the laws and you know, decrees of the Senate. Very important position. And they were fighting against, you know, as the Roman Republic became corrupted, more and more wealth was going into the hands of an oligarchy. And they were using slaves. Like regular free people were not able to be economically self-sustaining. And so they had these hyper-rich capitalists that were controlling slaves. So they had all the best land, and they would, replace Roman citizens with those slaves that were hyper exploited. And so there was a strong political push for land reform, where Roman citizens would be given land so that they could farm for themselves. They wouldn't have to rely on what was called the grain dole, which is the welfare of the day. Anyway, long story short, thinking about Rome. However, he was also a fascist supporting slave trade and expansionism. I mean, yes, ancient slavery was bad. It is ancient times. Like, don't even get me started. Slavery was bad, but the slavery of the Roman Republic was different than what America had. America had hereditary, permanent racial slavery, which was not how it was in Rome. They didn't have that concept. Many slaves actually had positions of prominence in society, and many slaves became free. It was a very normal, there was a lot more social mobility within. Even slavery was like more of a temporary condition than a permanent status. And it wasn't like hereditary. Like, American slavery was a lot different. It basically subordinated people as like permanently subhuman. It's different. America was more evil. There was hereditary element to the Roman slavery yes, but again, many slaves and many like there was all sorts of assimilation factors. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not saying Roman slavery is good. I'm comparing it to American slavery, which was fucking an innovation of capital that created racial caste in America for the purpose of hyper-exploitation, which is not that's not how it was in Rome or in Africa where slavery existed. They were oftentimes war captives. Like the way it was, like the way that slavery operated in the ancient world versus the way it operated in the West, specifically being used to settle the Americas, is different. Very, very, very different. Chattel slavery was genocidal? Oh, definitely. Found one with better audio? Maybe. Anyway, what was I saying? Inflation. Let's go back to the inflation shit. Let's not go off. I'm getting off into a fucking side thing about slavery and Rome and blah, 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 blah. Rome's entire system of civilization was basically citizens get benefits. Everyone else is basically slave labor for the empire. Not correct. Not correct. Unfortunately not. Not correct. Unfortunately. Part of the reason why part of the reason why Julius Caesar had so much conflict is he waged illegal war. There were friendly kingdoms that were, there was advanced diplomacy. There were friendly tribes and friendly kingdoms, and the Romans engaged in all sorts of, there was a complex level of like vassal, friend, all sorts of other things like that. And why Julius Caesar waged illegal warfare against Gaulish tribes that were many of whom were officially Rome's allies. So that's part of the history. All right, let's keep going.
He either needs to adjust his messaging, where they need to see the numbers come around.
Well, and yeah, believing those in power that will actually do something about this issue is a whole separate thing, and it will be tested at the ballot box in November. And John, kind of in this dynamic, Speaker Johnson says the president's comments were taken out of context and that Trump is actually laser focused on lowering costs. How much will that resonate on the campaign trail? And even though Trump isn't officially on the ballot, we've still seen his influence, at least in the primaries to this point.
Oh, yeah. Trump is the issue of the election. I mean, he is the biggest issue. His conduct of the Iran war, his handling the economy, his conduct in office. I got to tell you, I was on the Hill yesterday when he made those comments.
God, I can't believe they have that stupid UFC arch by the White House. God, it's like we are actually living in hell. We are actually living in hell.
And they went through the Capitol pretty quickly, and it was just, every Republican just winced. They're upset. The messaging they're hearing out of the White House is not about inflation. It's not about the economy. It's not about Americans' financial status. They're overdue credit card payments. They're struggling to pay for school. And every day that Trump is out talking about Iran, he's talking about other issues. He's talking about the 2020 elections is a disaster for the Hill Republicans. It's a big problem for them. Speaker Mike Johnson can talk, say Trump's labors are focused on inflation, but the American public doesn't think so. Congress doesn't think so. Even the Republicans in Congress, I'll tell you that. So this is a big problem for them.
And, kind of along those lines, if inflation does remain elevated and energy prices stay high, which at least the latter it appears that it will, at least through the November election because of Iran, how much pressure does that actually put on the White House to make those adjustments? Again, if President Trump isn't officially on the ballot, even though those under the party that he is leading will very much be.
Yeah, it's a tremendous pressure point. And
it's supposed to rain on Sunday. God, it's such an embarrassment.
That's why you see the current tactic, to Jane Harmon's earlier point, not sure if it's going to work, but the stepped up pressure with bombing. The president clearly wants to bring this to a conclusion and move on. But once you get into something like this, you can't just like wave a magic wand and get out of it. So the president's facing an enormous amount of pressure because, of course, if his party lose control of either chamber, but particularly both chambers, it will not only end his agenda, but create an era of investigations for the second half of his presidency. So there's a lot of reason for him to want to move on from this. The question is just, can he do it, and when will he do it?
I want to talk about it with CNN Business senior reporter David Goldman, who's with me now. So it seemed like he said he loved it because maybe it would then come down. That seemed to be where he was going with it. But what do you make of all this?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, this is certainly more foot and mouth disease. We've seen this from him saying that he doesn't care about Americans' finances. But is there really anything to love about inflation? I don't love it. I'm sure you don't love it. But let's take a look and see what actually happened. Now, we had gas prices rise 7% over the course of May. Wow. But that made 60% of the total gain that we saw in inflation. And so that, if you think about it, is actually not a bad thing, because we know why gas prices are rising. That's because of the war in Iran, because the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And
I legitimately feel like we're all gonna die. And this, by the way, is just deferred racism. Basically, they believe that the war in Iran is just because Trump is doing it, and Trump can just make it stop anytime he wants. They don't even consider the Iranians to have agency. Now, Trump started the war, but he can't stop it. You understand that, right? Like, Donald Trump that's why you don't start wars, because you don't just get to stop them. The Iranians have changed the way the world is not the same. The Iranians are saying it's not going to go back to the way it happened before the war, because before the war created the conditions for us to be attacked. So we're not accepting going back to before the war, because that makes us vulnerable again. They are not going to let the war end. Donald Trump cannot end the war without surrendering significant concessions to Iran. Now, I'll be honest with you, chat. Looking at the concessions he would have to give out, I don't think they're that big of a deal, and he should have done them, right? Iran should not be sanctioned. Iran should be allowed to have its own civilian nuclear program under international supervision. Iran should be allowed to trade with the rest of the world. Like, there's no thing that we're doing to Iran that we can't wind back that I think it would be negative in any way. But unfortunately for Donald Trump and Israel, that would be accepting a major defeat. So they're not going to do that. So they're not going to be able to, they can't just end the war. And this is where racism makes your brain rot. They think we'll end the war and then oil prices and everything will be low and everything will be A-O-fucking-K and oil will be flowing in the Hormuz again. No, it's not. You understand that they've damaged the Middle East oil production, right? Some of these wells are now contaminated or structurally destroyed because of the pressure. Now they have water table infiltration. They cannot be reopened. This is not something that you can just go oh, well, everything will just go back to normal. No.
This means we're not seeing those prices make their way through the economy yet. That's not a bad thing. And so I don't think that they're going to fall like a rock for a lot of reasons, but it also means that lots of prices have nothing to do with Iran. That is a good thing. We've also seen that oil prices are down 15% from their peaks in May, and gas prices have fallen for 21 straight days. Now, we're still above.
This is called delusion. Geologist here, you are correct. Yes, I know. I studied oil and gas law at law school. Part of it was learning the geology of modern oil and gas production, including fracking. Anyway, so I'm not an expert. I'm not a geologist, but I know more than most people. It's part of the reason why severance tax was one of my platform planks when I ran for office.
Of $4 nationally. It's not, no one loves what they're seeing at the pump, but this is good news as well. And it means that in the next inflation report, instead of the 4.2% gains that we saw, maybe we'll see 4.5, something like that. It's not going to surge the way that it has in the last couple months. One more good piece of news. This number, 2.9%, if you strip out volatile prices like food and energy. That's what the Fed does because they don't know how to, calculate for these really volatile prices. That is a number that the economy can deal with. It was only up 0.2% for the month. So is there something to love in the report? Maybe, but do we love inflation? No, and those numbers need to start coming down if Americans want to feel better about their finances, which certainly they are not right now.
Yeah, it's a big threshold. And even digging into some of the numbers and categories, it's important to know the context, of course. But yeah, as you point out, at the end of the day, inflation's inflation, and it hurts.
That's right.
All around. David Goldman, appreciate you being here. I want to bring in Republican Congressman Marlin Stutzman of Indiana to talk a little bit about this because
look at the political talent of your average Republican.
Some of your colleagues on the Senate side were asked about this, Senators Hawley, Tuberville, Capito, and look, unsurprisingly, they are uncomfortable with the level of inflation, need to find a way to get the price of things down. And one, do you agree with your Republican colleagues? Where do you stand on this?
Good morning. Great to be with you this morning. Yeah, anytime inflation bumps up to those levels, it's concerning. I think that the jobs number that we had last week obviously is very strong. So the economy is strong, the fundamentals are strong, but of course the conflict in Iran is causing gas prices to be up, and that's probably the biggest driver of the inflation numbers. So we'll continue to watch it. I know President Trump is working very hard to find a solution here, but anytime those types of numbers come out, there's obviously more concern, but we'll get there. I'm convinced of that.
Oh, and you mentioned the jobs numbers. Yes, they beat expectations over the last few months, but then on the other hand, consumer sentiment is low. People are still paying more for items. So even if people say, all right, hey, the economy is working well overall, people aren't quite feeling it. It doesn't seem like in their wallets. And I think the question here, sort of moving forward, is if inflation remains elevated and energy prices stay high because of the Iran conflict. Look, I think everyone hopes it's resolved in a way that's satisfactory for everyone as quickly as possible, but we haven't quite seen that to this point. How much pressure does that put on the White House to make adjustments before November? I mean, President Trump isn't on the ballot directly, but you are, for example. What are you hearing from your constituents?
Right. Yeah, I hear mixed reviews from my constituents. Older constituents tend to say, hey, you have to finish the job with Iran. The IRGC has been a problem for 40 years.
Older constituents say you have to finish the job with Iran. Yes, when we had a Gestapo ruling over the country, that was a lot better. They fought back, and they've resisted us for 50 fucking years. What now, you fucking worthless boomer morons?
They continue to be the greatest sponsor of terrorism around the world. Most nations accept that fact. Younger people are more frustrated with it. But at the same time, I think that's why you have to focus on doing the right thing, even when times get tough. And President Trump is doing that. And the fact is that the IRGC is imploding. They are, not coming to the table for a deal, and it's only going to cost them more in the end. They think they may get a short-term win, but President Trump is going to hang in there. I'm going to support him to remove the IRGC. I want to
look at these neocon warmongers, dude. The Republican Party. If we had a million, imagine if we had 50 grand Platners, there would be no Republican Party. Look at this fucking pencil pushing nerd.
See the Iranian people have their country back, and I think that brings long-term stability in the Middle East and long-term lower prices, energy prices.
Notice they say stability and not flourishing or democracy or freedom or anything like that. It's just stability so they can suck out their fucking resources and burn them up in their fucking rolling coal truck. Utterly meaningless.
For us as Americans.
All right, chat. One more thing I wanted to read to you. Post made on the Ethan Klein subreddit. Dealing with the hate on this community. Spent some time going through the comments of the Fantano video, and this is all just depressing, man. Not only does everyone seem to be on the same page that Ethan is a pathetic, sad, sociopathic loser, but they say the same about this community and H3 fans. I understand that there will be some blowback from being a drama podcast that criticize others, but damn, H3 really has become an internet pariah. And you can't talk reason to anyone since our community has been labeled as rabid, misogynist, brigading bots that defend anything that Ethan does. As someone with OCD, it really does get to my head being a fan of the show. I feel like if I talk to any of my friends about the show, they will look at me like I'm evil for supporting such an evil creator. How do y'all cope? It's so funny to call Ethan a drama channel, and then what is he actually doing with the money? Suing people for engaging in discourse that he started. He is a fucking worm and a parasite, and he's only popular because he was seen as a victim for fair use back when Reddit was so naive and gullible that they pretended to care about that kind of shit. Well, now we live in a hyper-polarized political world where NMs is coded as left-wing, so all the centrist and right-wing creators are going to abandon all their so-called values and to go after her. They're fucking disgusting frauds. Well, chat, that's going to be it for me. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to send you those guys, you know, everybody who has OCD or who has an intense phobia of flying and felt offended by me making fun of MoistCr1TiKaL for being a 32-year-old man who's afraid of the airplane. I'm going to send you guys, gals, non-binary pals over to the Brain Domain, who is a mental health practitioner, all-around chill guy. The vibes there are peaceful hippie, but let me tell you, there isn't a more strident, hardcore communist than the Brain Domain. So enjoy the good vibes, enjoy the mental health, and if you had any struggles, honest to God, this is a stream where you can like chat freely and kind of like get things off your chest. I legitimately think he should be the Dr. K replacement. Like Dr. K is far inferior to Joshua. So everybody check it out. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. I'll see you all soon. Here's all my links and have a wonderful day. Socialism is winning.